Alan McNish and Ronaldo Capello claimed their American Le Mans Series driver title for Audi in Mosport. At the Petit Le Mans earlier this month, they ran the Audi win streak to 9 straight P1 victories. And today at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, they will try to become the first team to win every race of the season. But in an incredibly intense and spectacular qualifying session, they could only manage a fourth as the number 15 Zytek and the blue number 88 Creation swept the front row. And in a race with a distance that might well favor speed and agility over strength and reliability, their battle to help Audi to a virtually perfect season could well be hard won.
GT1, what started as a friendly rivalry between Corvette and Aston Martin, has turned into a classic feud. Neither team will give quarter, and today a season-long battle will be decided for drivers' and manufacturers' glory. Well, the glory in qualifying went the way of Aston Martin. Stefan Sarazan in the 009 machine securing the pole position. But for teammates Thomas Enger and Darren Turner, they certainly have a lot of work to do here today. They've got to leapfrog those two Corvettes to stop them from winning the championship. And Darren, you're starting the car today. What sort of strategy will you employ as you go to green?
I think it's going to be maximum attack from the word go. Obviously, with the sort of the action that happened on turn 1 and the first few laps, that's going to be the ideal opportunity to try and get past the two Corvettes. But we know what we've got to do. We've got to finish first and second to wrestle that Manufacturers Championship and the Team Championship away from Corvette. So there's everything to play for.
In GT2, Jörg Bergmeister has rebounded from a slow start and dominated the second half of the season since returning from Le Mans. He and Peterson White Lightning teammate Patrick Long have 3 wins and 2 seconds in the last 6 starts. Bergmeister comes to California just 4 points behind Johannes van Overbeek, who has seen a healthy points lead deteriorate with no wins and just 3 podium finishes during that same time frame. Well, we talk about the problems that Johannes van Overbeek has had recently. They surface again here at Laguna Seca in qualifying. No clutch means no lap time, and that means he'll have to start well back in the GT2 field. But Johannes, how do you take all that bad luck, especially this weekend, put it behind you, and focus on the championship?
Well, first I'd like to say hi to Sarah and Brody. You know, we just have to look forward. We can't look back, and we had some last couple races, we've had some bad luck, some self-inflicted, some not. So we just need to go like hell today and hope that luck is in our favor, and the crew does a great job. My teammate Wolf, I'm sure, will do a great job. I need to do a great job, and we'll see, where we end up.
Well, perhaps it really is a glass half full kind of thing, this problem with the clutch, because had he not had it in qualifying, he very easily could have had it in the race, and the championship would have been over.
In P2, Porsche teammates Sasha Maassen and Lucas Luhr will battle for the class driver's title, but if they should falter, the little team that could, Liz Halliday and Clint Field, are poised to snatch glory from the German stars.
But their chances took a big hit in practice when Halliday crashed the 37, forcing the team to miss qualifying. Meanwhile, Sasha Maassen showed his heels to the field and challenged the big prototypes, taking pole in class with a time good enough for 3rd overall. The championships are decided next.
Welcome to the beautiful Monterey Peninsula as Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca once again hosts the season finale for the American Le Mans Series. It's the Monterey Sports Car Championships. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer, and it's great to have you with us today on this spectacular day for our coverage here on Speed. And quite frankly, it's the kind of day that has justly given California its legendary reputation. Temperatures in the mid-70s, gorgeous sunny skies, and Dorsey Schrader, what that means, weather's not going to be an issue, but there are plenty of others, and the major ones are our BMW keys to winning.
And Greg, the first of which is Race the Racetrack. Now, there's a lot of unknowns this weekend at Laguna Seca as the entire circuit has just been repaved. Now, normally you would assume that means a softer, more gentle racetrack with more grip. That's not the case at all. There's more bumps here than before, and the grip level, not that great. Secondly, it's the first time that any high horsepower cars have been on the circuit. Now, mid-afternoon sun, will the track stay down or will it start to break up? We'll have to see. The second part is pit opportunities. A normal American Le Mans Series race is 2 hours and 45 minutes in length. Today's race is 4 hours. What that means is every team will have to stop at least one more time in the pits. Now, you can adjust your car to the track conditions, but also that pit stop can be a recipe for disaster. A wheel nut that hangs up or an engine that won't fire can change the complexity of this championship.
And it is the final round, so there's an awful lot on the line. When we come back, we'll give you the starting lineup, and we'll flesh out some more of these championship stories.
As I make my way, come on,
coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Audi, initiating a new dawn of power, and by Michelin, a better way forward. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, everybody, as we are just about to get this season finale of this great season of American Le Mans Series competition underway. And Dorsey, earlier we talked about some issues, but there are also some scenarios that are sure to unfold, and they are our Pirelli storylines.
Indeed, and the most important one to some teams is the 70% rule. And what that means is you have to get points in this race. You have to complete 70% of the laps that the lead car does. Now, that being said, some teams are playing into that. Certainly the number 4 Corvette, the GT1 of Oliver Gavin, Olivia Beretta, they will clinch the championship if they can make that 70%. In P2, both of Roger Penske's Porsche RS Spiders can win, but which driver will it be if they make 70%? In GT2, it's between Jörg Bergmeister and Johannes van Overbeek. Now, if Johannes' car breaks early, Jörg will be the champion at the 70% mark. Also, play the cautions. Because of this racetrack today, we think we'll see a lot of cautions. We'll get to that later. But in the meantime, because of the cautions in the split classes, you have to keep track of the overall leader in relation to where your car is. Because as that caution comes out, you can gain or lose a lap. And that's going to be paramount today because we do think there'll be many cautions.
Now the strategists are going to be incredibly important. Now to get a little bit more information on what's going on in GT1, particularly with Corvette, let's get down to Calvin Fish with Ollie Gavin.
Well, two guys certainly looking at the 70% mark today, Olivier Beretta and Ollie Gavin. Ollie, do you play it safe today and just try and drive away around and get to that point, or do you really push for that manufacturer's chase also?
Well, I think certainly one thing's for sure, that if you try and just drive around saving yourself and being careful and being this and being that, then you don't drive naturally. And that's certainly one of the things that Olivier and I want to do, is just drive around here naturally and don't take any chances, but don't do anything different other than our usual deal. And, you know, it's important that we get this manufacturer's championship tied up. And, you know, if the driver's title comes in with that, then it's great. But that's our main focus, getting that manufacturer's.
Good luck, mate. Best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
It's tough for those guys to drive conservatively. Now, the GT2 point scenarios are incredibly close. And on that topic, a little earlier, Brian Till talked with one of the protagonists, Jörg Bergmeister.
For Jörg Bergmeister, 2006 is a lot like 2005. You start a championship run at Road America, and now we come to Laguna Seca. It's within reach. What do you need to do to capitalize on it and bring it home, Jörg?
Obviously, a win would be nice. That's what we did last year here, so I'm trying to do that again. Otherwise, I think we just have to finish. If we finish second, there has to be one car in between Johannes and our car, and then we still win the championship. And so far, the car ran really well. During all practice sessions, we were always in the top 3, so I'm pretty happy.
Well, Jörg Bergmeister looking for 2 championships in a row in GT2.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. Now, along with all the competitors on the track, one thing they're going to have to deal with is this racetrack itself. And Dorsey, take us around with our Pirelli course description.
Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, one of the best racetracks in North America, has just been completely repaved. All 2.238 miles of it. Now, past the start-finish line, you go through a very fast turn 1, and you come into the first of the little congested areas, the Andretti hairpin. Now, it's a very tight corner. It's a tricky corner because you're braking at a diagonal as you come through turn 1. You can't win a race getting into this corner, but you can certainly throw one away. Now, when you leave that, you go into the flat infield section. It's comprised of turn 3, turn 4. Both of these very, very slippery racetrack corners up into what is known as turn 5. It's the beginning of the climb to the corkscrew. Here, as you can see, you accelerate down into the brake zone, make this left-hand bend, and then directly uphill. Full throttle as you head toward turn 6, just past that bridge ahead. You got to go down 1 gear, and you're going to see all the way up here to the corkscrew area, and it's one of the most photogenic of all of racing. You go to the left here, turn to the right, fall off the side of the mountain, down under the bridge you go through turn 9. This is a very scary corner from inside the race car. As you're going extremely fast, full throttle, down in here, turn 10. Turn 10 is where you start to set up a pass to go to the front straightaway. Up ahead, catch a couple gears here, hard braking. This is the hairpin, and you turn hard to the left and accelerate. This is pit straightaway and the checker flag dead ahead.
And the field is underway. It is an incredibly close field, as we saw in qualifying. So we're going to have the pole sitters introduce themselves to you. Take a look at the starting grid across the speed strip.
Hi, I'm Johnny Molan from London, England.
I'm Stefan Johansson from Växjö, Sweden.
I'm Sascha Maaßen from Germany.
I'm Timo Bernhard from Germany.
Hello, I'm Stefan Zaza and I come from France.
I'm Pedro Lamy from Portugal.
Hi, I'm Mika Salo from Finland.
Hello, I'm Stefan Otteri from Monaco.
And there you have our class pole sitters. Now, Dorsey, this track we talked about a little bit is about the cleanest it's going to be. Why is that?
Well, they just repaved it, and the pavement for some reason didn't come out quite as good. The curbing on the sides here were put in for motorcycles. That being said, the motorcycles don't trip up on that curbing, but these race car drivers use it. In fact, they abuse it. They drop their wheels on the inside, and they bring all this sand and gravel onto the track. It's been really a bad weekend for slipperiness.
Yeah, a lot of guys off in the gravel and the like, but hey, it's the same for everybody, and I guess that's one of the unique challenges of Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Pace vehicle is in, and we are about to get this season and its conclusion underway. Boy, a slow pace coming up to the line by Stefan Johansson and the Zytek. Everybody packing up, but we have a green flag. The season finale is underway. Weaver looking to the inside from row 3, not much room. Here comes one of the Audis. Very aggressive move of the two Audis. I think they got together, Dorsey.
They did bump. They bumped one of the Porsches out of the way first, and then each one hit the other. But those are just light little love taps.
I believe that was Pirro getting into the side of his teammate right there. And Weaver, as always, looking to do something magical in the opening laps. Couldn't do it. One of the Porsches taking a look, and everybody deciding, no, let's just slot through her. This is a tough section to be running two abreast in early.
And you can see in the back part of that frame, all of the dust starting to kick up, and nobody's been off the track yet.
Yeah, that's the amazing part of it, is just the air. And boy, the 007, what a launch. An incredible run by Turner. He's already gone into second in GT1 path, both of those Corvettes.
Well, you know, I was listening to qualifying when he ran his first lap, which put him in fourth, and he was on his second. They told him just to park it. So I think they're playing that game.
And then reserve.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, this is the first weekend that they've been running at equal weight with the Corvettes, but the Corvettes do have a little bit of a restrictor disadvantage yet. But nonetheless, let's go back and see one of the Audis roll it. Now, we're on board with the 007, Dorsey. Watch this launch.
This is down into the turn, coming onto the front straightaway. Launches off this corner. Oh, my. Stack up, got a good run. Works the outside. Now, the Corvette guys said they wanted to be in front of the Aston Martins because they thought they could control the pace of the race if they were. That is out the window.
Well, here he's only got the one. There's his teammate up front, and look at this move. Just sort of froze Johnny O'Connell up on the outside, and around he went.
Now, I wonder if it's the difference between the Pirellis on the Aston Martin and the Michelins on the Corvettes about coming into their temperatures. The 21 BMW has had a problem.
By the way, that was Fellows in the Corvette as well, and here's Bill Oberlin, who's had a quick off. Don't know whether he got a little help, but nudge or is able to continue on, obviously.
Just hit me and spun me in turn 1.
You heard the radio. Let's go back. Oh, and there's a little damage there.
That could be related. Left rear corner of the number 4.
It's our championship contending car.
And that's what they don't need this early on. Of course, they're just looking for the 70% mark, but this is not a good way to start.
They catch.
We've seen these Corvettes take monumental hits from behind and not have much damage, so this is something pretty substantial. It certainly looks good.
Almost looks like somebody got a fender up inside that fender and just peeled it upwards. On board with Olivier Beretta right now, and what does that do to your psyche now as a driver? We want a nice clean run, we want to be fast, but we want to be clean, not get into problems. Bang!
That's your
laps in, you have an issue.
It's your first wake-up call. You know, there's nothing much to it except it's hanging out there. It's going to be pulling to that side a little bit, tugging on the steering wheel, but maybe it'll fly off. But it's definitely your wake-up call. It's like, all right, it's going to be that way, is it?
You're thinking, oh, that's our glitch for the day.
Yeah, that's the last we got.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, Stefan Johansson and the Zytek, as you see, opening it up just a little bit. Zytek sat on pole here last year, and then Blue Creation, that team had a pole here in 2004, sweeping the front row. But right now, Dindo Capello in that yellow roll-hooped Audi is really starting to apply some pressure to Nicholas Manassian and the Creation in the early going.
You look right there on the racetrack, all the dirt that's to the driver's left right there. That's what we're talking about as the weekend went through there. Let's take a look and go back to this 21 incident and see what's going on with Bill Oberlin, who doesn't normally spin on his own.
Well, they were both those cars actually started in the back, and so it's obviously trying to make something happen on the way up. But here, let's go back, take a look at the incident itself, see if we can figure out exactly how it occurred.
Oh, there are 3 abreast up on top here. And that's Van Overbeek coming underneath, touches the Panos and gets into the side.
No, I'm sorry, it's the 44 Flying Lizard.
Yeah, it's Darren Law trying to get underneath the 51 Panos.
He got into
Milner, and then he got right into Bill.
Well, he got into Milner first, and then he got into Arberlin and spun Arberlin out.
So now Bill, well back, is just going to have to put it on, and here we go. Big off, it looks like, off on the gravel anyway. Substantially wide over there.
One of the Porsches. No, it's not. It's a Ferrari. It's a 61.
That is Bertolini, who's off in the Ferrari. Car qualified 4th in the GT2 category, and I mean, he is well wide over there.
Well, this will be interesting to see if he can get out of the gravel trap, or if he brings out a full course caution, because in the meantime, the #1 car, Emmanuel Pirro, is complaining about something underneath his pedals in the driver's cockpit rolling around. There's something loose in the car.
That's not good. There is the margin 1st to 2nd as Johansson in that red and white Zytek over the creation.
There it is.
Full course caution. We predicted a few, and here's why. Now, here's a look at what happened with the Ferrari, and it has already started, I think, here, Dorsey. Watch for it.
Yeah, he's already backwards as he come out of turn 9, headed down toward 10. He's lost it at the top of that and backed into the safety gravel trap, which is good because that's a big hit. See another. Well, it looks like he just lost it on his own. He's down there coming off a 9, getting ready to set up for 10, and broke free on it.
So we're under our first full course caution. If the name Bertolini, although it's the first time we've seen him, I believe, this year, if it sounds familiar, he ran the Maserati frequently last year, so not entirely unfamiliar. It was the Maserati had one of its best runs right here. So, well, we are under full course caution as Bertolini awaits a little help getting out of the gravel trap. And earlier, our Pirelli flyover was most spectacular from the U.S. Coast Guard, an HC-130 Hercules with 4 Pratt & Whitney turboprops, and man, did it put up a howl when it came by. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome back Andre Bertolini, who's got the car out of the gravel trap and is back on course. And obviously, I would suspect, with the caution continuing, that he might make a run into the pit lane and have that car looked at, and that is exactly what is unfolding. So we continue under caution here, but I want to talk about some phenomenal news that continues to evolve. The future keeps looking better and better for the American Le Mans Series, with an expanded 2007 schedule, along with growth in each of the 4 classes. Now this week, yet another team that made its reputation in big-time open-wheel racing announced it would join the fun at Sebring. Bobby Rahal announced that Rahal Letterman will debut a new GT2 class, Porsche 911 GT3 RSR at Sebring, and Bobby says it's a return to his roots.
If you look at the series and the influx of new teams, new manufacturers, I think sports car racing, especially the American Le Mans Series, is really on the rise. And so we wanted to be a part of that. Personally, for me, really this represents the coming home in a lot of respects, because for years, my father raced sports cars at Sebring and places like that in the 60s. And of course, I raced in the 70s and 80s in sports car racing in addition to the IndyCar stuff. So for us, there's all kinds of really good races to be here, and I'm glad we were finally able to put it all together.
Emanuele Pirro brings the Audi into pit lane. He'd been reporting on the radio to the crew that something is loose down in the footbox. So the nose is off of this Audi R10 right now. Crew are going to work. Not a big deal. They have a long caution lap here to try and get a fix done so it doesn't affect the driver.
We don't need to remove the nose for that.
I did not see anything come out of the cockpit, so right now they may be just trying to fix something back. It may have been like a clip that is broken, and there I see something tossed out of the cockpit. It's some electrical component. A little black box is now on the floor here, so they're replacing that, changing the nose at the same time. And again, they just need to get him back out, not go down a lap. That would be a big handicap here at Laguna.
Well, that is the black box that was being reported as flopping around in there, is held on by Velcro. It looks like a radio relay for the communication system. Now, as far as things flopping around by your feet, that's very dangerous, obviously, because it can jam a brake pedal or a throttle pedal, and get yourself. There's not much room down there either for your 2 little bitty feeties.
Well, anything jamming down there is bad, that's for sure. So obviously it was a huge concern, and this early caution may have been an absolute godsend for them at this point. Now they need to deal with this quickly, because it looks like the lights are out. Looks like the lights are out on the pace car, so we may be going green, so they need to get that car moving, Cal.
Well, they do. They certainly don't want to go down a lap. Even this way, they're going to go down the best part of a lap. Right now, they've got to get this nose fixed, get back out there. So it looks like everything is done. Pirro fires it up. He's back underway.
Well, good, and he did, in fact, beat the pace car in the field coming through. but pace car now is in, and he is making the approach. Stefan Johansson leading the Zytek around, and we are back to green.
But he's going to lose a lap, Greg. He's never going to get out in front of this pack.
These Manassian too. Sorry, no, he's not. No way he can do it because of the speed limit in the pits, and he goes down a lap right now unless he pulls something magical here.
Now he's a lap
next
down.
Couple corners. Down he goes.
He's going to have to get on full chat right now and get that lap back immediately. I mean, he's going to have to get by these 4 or 5 cars and make his presence known.
What, Manassian looking mighty racy on that restart. Took a serious look down the inside of Johansson through turn 1, then backed out of it. But Johansson in the first couple of laps was able to open up a little bit of a margin. That Zytek looks like it really comes alive quickly.
And I tell you, the dirt that you just saw kicking up off the outside of that tire, that's going to just keep getting worse and worse if they keep dropping wheels off.
As you talk about the strength of the Zytek, they are 4 for 5 in poles in the American Le Mans Series. They've been over here 5 times. They have 4 poles, and in talking to the team, they said the car is really, really good on tires. They can probably go the distance on one set of tires, and they can up the temperature very, very quickly. So that Zytek, it is one hooked-up machine, especially in the hands of Stefan Johansson.
And I think that coming up to temperature quickly, Brian, as you point out, is what we just saw there. And one of the Audis now coming by takes over second.
Yeah, Capello, nice move of Manassian, just got him down in the brake zone. Now Manassian trying to return the favor. That little creation accelerates awfully quickly and got him, but now Capello decides the better of it. But Manassian got past, but like I said, that light car just explodes off the corner. But when all of that torque and that Audi comes up to spool, if you will, he just wasn't able to get it done yet. Dumas watching from 4th, leading in P2.
Right on board with Romain Dumas. He tries to make some ground here in the lead. Of course, that is a P2 class car, but qualified. Porsche was up in 3rd place.
We see Romain Dumas leading the LMP2 class right now, and in fact, he was given that lead by his teammate and co-driver Sasha Masson in the other machine. Now remember, Sasha Masson and Lucas Lowe were teammates at the beginning of this year, and to try and secure this championship, they've gone in different directions and switched into different cars. The goal all along is trying to orchestrate this championship so they can have co-driving champions here today. For that to happen, the 7 car needs to win, with the 6 car finishing right behind. Looks like they're on mode for that already.
Look like Mike Lewis is blown up in a big way, and he's staying on the racetrack, oiling the whole thing down.
Right on the line.
I'm not sure what's going on, but it's pouring out a ton of smoke. It looks to be from the right rear wheel.
Well, that's not, I mean, you don't want to be on a racetrack dumping all kind of oil. That's definitely oil smoke. It's not a tire or anything like that.
And that was a very quick section of track. Turn 6, they approach an exit of 6, and you're really on the hammer climbing the hill, and it's fast.
Yeah, corner workers will have seen the smoke. They'll walk out there and see if there's more before these lead cars get there, hopefully, and have their flags ready.
Good look there at Dindo Capello as he continues to run 3rd right now in class, 3rd overall, as the Zytek and the creation of Manassian leads. Now, one of the stories that we were talking about with this car at the Petite that may come to harm it a little bit here because of that extra pit stop you talked about is tire life.
Yeah, tire life is going to be paramount. You know, these longer races these guys are used to. It's 2 hours 45 minutes normal, 4 hours today. And then these cautions and where they play out, what strategies are shown.
That car runs a little smaller tire, so it tends to go through tires a little bit more strongly. Now, back in the order, this is the battle for 8th right now. Number 37 is John Field in the Intersport car. Again, a car that didn't run in qualifying and has leapt up through the field, and he's got around the 76. Now, that is the Bruichladdich radical of Stuart Mosley, who did a great job in qualifying, 3rd in P2. But boy, John Field, that obviously likes the way the Intersport Lola is handling right now, and he has flown up through the pack.
And the crew at the Intersport guys have done such a job. The last 2 races in a row, 2 totaled vehicles just about had to be rebuilt.
A lot of damage to that race car again this weekend. Also, they did a great job. This crew has worked tirelessly throughout this season to keep these guys in the championship hunt. But talking to John Field this morning, he said, we're really struggling here for grip. He said the Goodyear tire does not really seem compatible to this new track surface. He said whenever we run with a track that has sand that was blown across, we seem to really struggle for grip. So he may have the pace right now. We'll have to wait and see what the wear rate is like on that Goodyear tire. Let's go down to Brian.
Calvin, Michael Lewis has brought his injured prototype 1 class car to pit lane. It is not the engine, it is a right rear suspension failure. Crew working with it right now, but that's suspension moving up and down, and I saw it wobbling back and forth as he came down pit road. So this is going to be a long repair and way too early in the race to have this type of problem for these guys.
Well, see, I told you it wasn't tired.
Oh, man, so got a problem there, and it's going to be a long fix, obviously. Oh, look at it.
Yeah, that's come disconnected pretty good back in the back.
Is that lower problem, it looks like? Oh, boy, here we go, back in GT2. And again, this is the battle for the championship in terms of drivers, in particular between these two cars. The 31 driven by Jörg Bergmeister, the first car on your screen, right behind it, the 45 of Van Overbeek, currently running third and fourth in class. So this is very important. And the scenario here is Bergmeister, if he doesn't win to win the championship, he has to finish 2 spots in front of the 45 of Van Overbeek. And right now, this is a good one. But it's early.
The 45 of Van Overbeek made 0 laps at qualifying due to a clutch failure. So that car has very, very little time on this weekend.
Bergmeister has been very, very quick for much of the weekend. And when qualifying unfolded, of course, as it turned out, it was the Ferrari that really hooked up well, and then the Alex Job Racing Porsche qualified second, but Jörg was right there in third, and obviously that's where he runs right now. But very impressive, the climb through the pack from virtually last for Van Overbeek.
Of course, we did have that one caution early on the third lap, which stacked everybody up again.
The good news for Van Overbeek, of course, by not having the car running qualifying, he had brand new, fresh set of Michelin tires to start the race with. And Jörg Bergmeister really did quite a number of laps yesterday. I was quite surprised that the hammer was down for numerous laps to try and get the car towards the front of the pack. Initially, he didn't get a good lap together. He's kind of hard in the mid-pack. He didn't want to start from there. Eventually got a great lap in to qualify third. But right now, you would have to assume that Van Overbeek's tires would be in better shape.
So maybe his plan, Darcy, at this stage is just to hound Bergmeister, see if he can force him to run those tires off, make some sort of mistake, get in front to be able to control it that way. So those great championship scenarios we were talking about, they're very interesting, even this early in the going here at Laguna. We are back at the Monterey Sports Car Championships at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, and we are back under a full course caution once again, folks. And there you see it is a red car, and it is in fact the number 61 Ferrari of Bertolini off in the gravel trap approaching the one he was off in previously. And this one apparently was not one of his own doing. Apparently he got a little help from a prototype. We've had a couple of reports listening to radios and the like. It's either the 15 Zytek or the 1 Audi. And we're going to go back and see if we can find out specifically.
That's the Zytek that's closest to him at this point. Let's see if there's contact made. I'd say so. Yep, there he goes. Andrea Bertolini trying out the right side of the track, gravel trap. So, here's another look. Oh, boy. That could have been really bad,
That
Greg.
could have been serious, yeah.
You're really going fast right there.
And it looked like, Bertolini tried to get out of it. Watch it here now.
15 car is going to try not to make contact. You go by this tree here. Look, he's trying to drive off the road.
Just caught the bumper, and then the big wiggle for Bertolini, and away he went. And that's the rainy curve, and you're right, Darcy,
that's wicked fast down through there. You know, you're in 4th or 5th gear, depending on what gearbox you're running. Good ride. He's lucky he didn't tumble because he just started to teeter there when he went off dead sideways.
Once again, the size of that gravel trap paying off big time as it slowed him down and stopped him before he got on the barriers. But obviously, got to get him out of there. So we are under a full course caution. Once again, second in the race, and we're only 15 laps in.
For his first stint, Mr. Bertolini not having a good morning so far.
He's been busy playing in the sand traps and the like. So at this stage, obviously, a lot going on in the early going. This, though, does help a couple of people. And the unfortunate thing is for the number 1 Audi of Mr. Pirro, he was not able to get in front of everybody, get his lap back. Had he gotten longer.
Yeah, had he gotten in front, he would be now at the tail end of the lead lap, but that's not the case.
And in GT1, the 2 Aston Martins had, in fact, opened up the better part of, 5 seconds easy over the Corvettes. And one thing a caution does is bring everybody back to you without you having to exert a whole lot.
It's one reason you don't want to use your stuff up too early, because these cautions are going to keep coming.
So play the game, and that's what we're doing here. Here are your 4 class leaders, the Monterey Sports Car Championships. Tomorrow on Speed, the 2006 Formula One season comes down to one final race. Michael Schumacher will need more than his incredible skill to claim his 8th world title before retirement. Can the winningest driver in Formula One history steal the championship from Fernando Alonso in Brazil? It's the Brazilian Grand Prix tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, live on Speed. That should be an incredible race. Watching the greatest driver, certainly in terms of records in the history of Formula One, in his final race. Let's get down to Calvin Fish.
Well, problems continue for the #1 Audi. Emanuele Pirro came in for a top up with fuel. When they did that, there was some kind of infraction there. He was held to look for about 15-20 seconds there. Also at the same time, Sasha Martin does another stop in the #6 Penske Porsche Spider. He and Romain Dumas, the 7 car, had already pitted for fuel. I was not at their pit box, but it looked like the 6 car changed the nose on that machine.
All right, thanks, Cal. We're getting a report that the reason for that infraction was the refueler was over the wall but didn't have the visor down, and that is something that they will watch very carefully for fuel splashback.
Normally a 10-second penalty after you're done with your stop. That's probably what was assessed there.
And speaking of penalties, there's a potential that we're hearing about that the number 15 Zytek may get a stop and hold in the pits for the contact with the Ferrari up there in the rainy curve.
Now that's a stop and hold for 15 seconds, and it will have to be administered after they go back to green, so it's quite a lengthy stop by the time you get the green flag, make your 1 lap and come back in and get held for 15. It's going to be pretty hard on it.
Now remember, there's that pit speed limit, so it's not like you can just rocket through the pits, stop and go. That's a slow run, and we're going to take you back and take a look at the number 6, and they sure did change the nose, Cal.
They did, and the team is set up once again. We understand there was some damage to the right side of that car, so Sasha Martin brought the car back in. Both the cars, as I mentioned, had pitted and topped up with fuel with no tire changes or driver changes at that point. But right now, the 6 team is set up once again, so there may be further issues with that car. Remember, Sasha Martin currently holds the LMP2 driver championship lead, but it all has to go right for him today to secure that. Hopefully they can have co-champions with Lucas Luhr in the other machine, but a long way to go.
Yeah, the scenario for that to happen is to finish, he wants to finish second with the other Porsche winning, and then they end up tied. So that's pretty much what they would like to see unfolding right there. But again, a lot of race yet to unfold. And speaking of a lot of racing, there was an awful lot of racing that has unfolded already this weekend. And one of them was a very great race in the Star Mazda Championship. It happened yesterday. At the start of the final round of the 12-race Star Mazda Championship, points leader Adrian Cario, the red car, had pole, but an always aggressive Ryan Justice starting on the outside knew that Cario might be a little conservative, as all he needed to do to win the championship was finish. Gave him a couple of feints coming into the Andretti hairpin and went around the outside. Later on in the race, Juan White, who had put together 3 straight wins, wasn't going to get a 4th, ran wide, cost him a number of positions. And late in the going, a big get-together between the number 50 of Brian Johnson and number 56, Dan Tomlin III. Tomlin's day was done, damage to that right front corner. And late in the race, another incident forced the event to finish under a full course caution. 7 laps of green flag racing only. But there's your podium, and Adrian Cario with a 3rd place finish is your brand new Star Mazda champ. We'll be right back to more from Laguna. Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine, and by Michelin, a better way forward. Well, we continue under our second caution in the early going here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. And Calvin Fish, I think you're standing by with a guy who's watching the end of this season rather interesting because of his ideas for the future.
Indeed, here with Robert Clark, who's president for Honda Performance Development. When we see these cars in action for the next time, next year at Sebring, Robert, we're going to see 3 entries from your stable. How has the testing been going so far for your P2 entry?
Been going very well. I mean, it's almost as I told my boss last week, it's like scary good. It's we've had 2 tests so far, one with Fernandez and the other with Fernandez and Andretti Green, and both went perfectly smooth. We accomplished everything on our checklist and more, and I mean, we're just really pleased with how the program is progressing.
Well, that's great news. We look forward to seeing you next season.
Thank you very much.
Let's go down to Brian.
Calvin, Trevor Foster directed this Zytek team to victory here last year. And Trevor, What a great car you guys put underneath Stefan so far this weekend. He's had the speed, but what about this incident on the racetrack? I'm sure you didn't see it the way the officials did.
No, absolutely not. No, we spoke to Stefan on the radio, and he was absolutely adamant. He was sure the guy had left the door open for him, and he was pulling away from Nick, so he was quite comfortable, but he just thought the guy had really seen him and let the door open, and unfortunately he closed it at the last minute. Stefan tried to avoid and get through the corner by, as you see on the monitors, going right over the curb, but they still see it that way. So.
And you've done this a long time. It doesn't really matter what your opinion is when you tell the officials, is it? Well, they'll take their medicine and go on, guys. We got a long way to go. They can still come out on top.
Absolutely. That car has been awfully quick and has been able to rebound. Now we're going to go back and take another look at it. And I tend to agree. I thought he did everything he could to hit the disappear button.
He did. Look at the prototype. Stefan Johansson, red, white, and blue. He goes to the left underneath this tree. Now when he sees the Ferrari come down, he runs over the curb. What more could he possibly do but go in the dirt? He tried everything he could do not to make that happen.
I'm guessing the official's answer would be wait till you're through that corner. You're going to be able to accelerate by him easily. But when you're racing, obviously, and you're trying to get away from somebody, you're trying to hustle the car. It's an interesting scenario. But we go back to green flag, which means we're going to see that Zytek in the pits fairly shortly for a stop and 15-second hold as the green flag flies. 20 laps in, starting the 21st, just over 35 minutes into this 4-hour Monterey Sports Car Championships, and Johansson leads him, but boy, Manassian on these restarts is right there for a lap or so.
Got a pretty good look in the brake zone there, how bumpy this racetrack is after they paved it. And look, the Corvette's taking back the position on the restart. Oh, and he's wide. The 76 Radical's off the outside.
Yeah, Stuart Mosley, the Brooklotti Radical, is able to survive the trip through the gravel and drive back on. So hopefully if he didn't do any damage to car or tires, he'll only lose some positions. Dropping a little bit of gravel on the track nonetheless. So, and one of the reasons for the vets moving up, the 007 of Turner did sneak into the pits during that caution. It's certainly helpful, and for the 4 and the 3 Corvette as well. Now the question is, when does Stefan Johansson bring this car in?
You better do it right away. I mean, he's trying to open up as much of a lead as he can right now, but you want to do it now before things. Here is the Radical on the outside of turn 1. At too much speed, it looks like, and couldn't make the corner.
You just saw the Horag Lista Lola go by, and they're in the same class, and I wonder if they were battling a little bit, and that was the reason he carried a bit too much speed.
Now, does Stefan come in? Let's see if he does. Yep.
He didn't.
Yeah,
yes, he did.
Yep, he's in.
I would think he's going to leave this stop in a fair amount of anger.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy. 15 seconds behind the wheel of a stopped race car feels like an eternity as the field thunders away from you.
And a crawl down pit lane compared to the speed that the cars are going on the track. It's just doubles the frustration. Into the penalty box.
You know, sometimes they need a scapegoat. I think we're looking at him. That call's a little rude for, he definitely did try to get out of that.
Making an example is what they're doing here. Yeah. Oh boy, look at that.
You can see him rolling back and forth. He's on the hill. It's really easy to burn a clutch out like that or break an axle because it's very much uphill as you leave pit lane.
Well, it's done. He's back out and heading onto the race surface, but he obviously is going to lose an awful lot of time.
This is usually how you make a new track record.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point. Nonetheless, now Manassian leads it, and they are working by some other traffic. Manassian in the blue number 88 creation is there. Is Dindo Capello second now in the number 2 Audi R10 TDI diesel.
Unfortunately, that little stops puts Stefan back around 8th at a minimum of 8th.
Well, only a couple of laps since the restart. James Weaver in the Tedford Norcold Dyson Lola was 3rd as a result of pit stops and the like of the cautions, but he's already lost 2-3 seconds. And that car, they just seem to be struggling all week to find the speed.
They haven't had the speed. The Weaver bunch, Chris Dyson, they've looked really hard, and they found a couple things they thought before they came into the race, so maybe they are in fact better than what we've seen. But of course, the way this race is playing out so far in the early going, as long as Weaver doesn't get a penalty, he'll be leading the next few laps.
It's kind of the way it looks, absolutely. There is Manassian, your leader. Right behind him comes Capello. And then here's the margin. In only 3 laps now, there is James Weaver. So they literally are just
got a headlight out.
Oh, he sure does.
Left front headlight's dangling around. It's still lit, but it's dangling around in there, falling out of its mount.
Of course, they had that huge crash for Guy Smith, that big shunt at the Petite Le Mans just a few weeks ago.
That's why there's only one of them here, because that car was so badly damaged, in fact, that even when they sent it back to England, it couldn't get repaired in time.
But on the good side, for the team and certainly for Guy Smith, he and wife Alicia just had a brand new baby daughter named Bronte. So,
well,
Guy, at least you're staying home with...
they gave him too much time off, obviously.
Exactly. And here we go in GT1 009 of Aston Martin of Pedro Lamy, and right behind him Olivier Beretta, the number 4 Company Ware-Vet, and this is for the lead in class. And the question now is, Darcy, as you can see, the number 4 ducked into the pits. They got that piece of bodywork tucked back in and latched, so no worries there. And now he's just trying to hang on and follow Pedro.
He just needs to get to the 70% mark that we talked about at the beginning, and they will win the championship. So I don't see him being, brave and racing the Pedro for the position. He just doesn't need it. There's no reason for it.
Just follow him as closely as you can.
Yeah, drive around, have a nice day, whatever the plans. All that, collect money at the end.
That's the key, right? Collect the money at the end.
That's the key.
Right there. All right, well, and that is exactly what he's doing and has done it very well. This is a guy whose record here at Laguna Seca is just amazing, considering that he had wins here back when he was driving the Oracle Vipers with Carl Bedlinger. His stat record at Laguna Seca, along with the most wins and the most poles in the series, is pretty spectacular.
And you heard Oliver Gavin at the beginning of the show, too, saying that they wouldn't just drive the same way they always did, that when you try to slow up and be kind of superficial to what you normally do, that's when the mistakes are made. He's right about that, too. So, I mean, they're not going to go slow. They're going to run at a pace that they think that they're safe with, though.
And now they've got Sasha Maassen in the DHL Global Mail P2 Porsche working by. He goes by Beretta right there, and he'll next be coming up on Pedro Lamy, so eye on the mirrors as well as working toward the front. They head down through the rainy curve. That is just a seriously fun section of track. It falls away, starts at the corkscrew, and that drop just never stops.
It's so fast. Now it's actually safe. You can see that the 2 gravel traps have worked twice for the 61. Back when I used to drive here, those gravel traps weren't there, and I always thought, boy, I'm going to get hurt here sooner or later. I don't know. But luckily, I never did. I mean, if you went off before, it was really a big impact.
Rude.
Very rude.
Been using yes. Well, once the prototype got through with Massa and those 2 guys now, let's take a look at what's unfolding in GT2. Got some good battling here. The other Corvette and Aston Martin having a big scrap right there, too. A little further behind. And then here comes GT2. There's the number 62, Mika Salo, in the Ferrari from Risi Competizione. And the guy that's chasing him, hounding him as much as he can right there in the Bell Ryko Hirewise number 23 Alex Job Racing Porsche is Mike Rockenfeller, who has been very quick. As a matter of fact, Rocky, in the 4 sessions they had here, including qualifying, was fastest in 2 of them. So he's got some pretty good pace, as he always does in these Porsches.
Rocky said he's given it his all. He cannot drive any harder than he's been doing all weekend to stay up with this Ferrari, which has claimed the pole several times. I mean, it's a very quick car, there's no question.
Well, without doubt. I think had the drivers in the Ferrari car, especially the one that's been running most of the season, been fairly static and they had the same drivers in the car, they would be very much, if not leading, this championship.
Greg, very different tire strategy on those 2 cars. Obviously, the Ferrari and mid-engine car, the Porsche back in the back, and the guys out of Ferrari said, our Michelin tires will be good the entire time. We're counting on the heat of the day and there's a new track surface to wear off those rear tires on the Porsches, so we think we have a distinct advantage.
There's so much not known about this new racetrack surface and what it can do to tires. It's been very cool here all weekend long while the cars are on the track. Today it's a pretty warm day, and we'll have to see what tire wear does. Now, we talked about the racetrack repaving, how bumpy it is, how it doesn't have grip. They're going to rip this surface completely off of here and do it all over again, Greg. That's an expensive...
oh, boy. $7 million. It was all part of a $7 million development and improvement and enhancement program. A large chunk of that went into paving. And that's going to have to be all done. Now, note right here, we're watching Jörg Bergmeister trying to get by the number 22 Yokohama BMW. That is not for position. That car down lap right now, the 22 is. Bergmeister still third in class and just trying to stay with Rocky and Salo.
Now, look at the cars as you're looking at them right there. You can see, watch the cars bounce on these bumps. Now, this place has just been repaved. There should not be any bumps. There weren't bumps here before. But for some reason, the paving machine put superficial bumps all over this place. The motorcycle guy said it was like doing whoopty-whoops, you know?
Yeah, for road racing bikes to make that comment, it tells you it's awfully rough. And we're on board now with David Brabham, the number 50. Panos, and he is the one chasing Bergmeister for position. Meanwhile, Moving up to the P2 category, good battle unfolding right here. The number 19 of Ben Devlin is the leader in the P2 category because of pit stops and changed things up. He evolved into the lead, and that is Romain Dumas, the number 7 DHL Global Mail entry. This is for position, and Devlin is a good driver. Now, the Radical not quite as sorted, perhaps, these days, but he's hanging on.
It's not that far off either. The Radical qualified third, which is a really good stepping stone for a brand new chassis.
Was that defensive?
I'm not going to give you that.
Yeah, he dissuaded him big time, without any question at this point. So Dumas just tucks in behind. I think certainly the Porsche a bit quicker right now. But again, talking about those 70%. If this car, the 7 and the 6, get there, one of the two of them is going to win a championship. So Dumas doesn't want to do anything overtly reckless at this stage, I would think.
No, they both are sitting in the catbird seat, really. You know, all they have to do is get that 70% mark. But that being said, you know, they still want to win. I'm sure they're under orders from Mr. Penske to win. Both, I mean, that's the nice thing about having the two drivers. You got two bullets. Look at that. That Radical is doing a good account for itself.
It is. That's AER power in that car. Pretty much the same power plant that's running in the Intersport logo. And that car, it does have decent straight line power. There's no question. And Devlin doing a great job right now of keeping Romain Dumas behind him.
Radical wants to sell some of these chassis. There's only a couple of them around so far. They want to make this car run at the front and sell some of these cars. It's a really nice looking piece. And you are going against the Porsche factory.
Light Porsche doing a nice job. And all the reports on the Radical are that the car is extremely user friendly, that it's a very, very comfortable car to go fast in. And there's Roger kind of pondering what's going on and going, well, you should be buying them already. And he may be thinking about, hey, I'm just trying to relax up here and you're giving me some TV time. But obviously he's a bit concerned about this at this stage. And boy, look at Devlin get down through that section of corner.
I was about to say, it looks like the Porsche has advantage in braking and getting into these corners, but that Radical is coming off of the corner awful strong. In fact, that's what's negating the ability to get past. Watch as it come onto the straightaway here. The Radical putting the power down pretty doggone good. Usually just squirts off away from the Porsche.
Fairly close at this stage. Let's see if he's got enough to make the move. Now, you know Devlin's going to protect the inside, and he does.
Good for him.
Hey, first in, first choice of line.
That's right. And this is where he's been good, coming off these little tight turn 3, turn 4, those squirty corners where you really need to get cut down. Look, see how much mid-corner speed he had in the Porsche? He opens up about 3 car lengths right there. He's going to do some more right here. The car is really good on this flat, slippery surface.
Now, question to pose here. We've been talking about the fact that these cars pull the gravel up on the track and the line. Part of the issue is going offline here. It gets real slick. Now, Dumas showed the nose, and here comes his teammate Sasha Massa right behind.
That's
in the 6 car, they had that nose replaced, so that is now in chase mode.
You look in the rearview mirror, now you see 2 of them. That's not good.
With a corkscrew.
He's not good up through here particularly. It looks like the Porsche is on this end of the track, the superior chassis. Yet when he gets down off of turn 1, 2, 3, the Radical really is fast.
Well, look at that. That's the Vanderster team, and they are loving what they're seeing right now. Dumas again looks to the inside, but just not enough, and has to tuck back in behind that EFC Systems Kumo tired Radical, and there he goes again.
That definitely good. Gets a good launch up the front straight.
Well, Ben Devlin has always been hoping to shine in front of the crowd here, and he's certainly doing that today. Finally, he's got a car underneath him that will allow him to do it. There's going to be a lot of driver movement next year. We're hearing around the paddock that at least 1, maybe 2 of the Porsche contracted drivers are going to be moving to the Audi camp. So for young drivers like Ben Devlin, what a perfect opportunity to shine when there are going to be some seats available for next year.
Well, that's a good point. The Porsche guys are watching this battle, so they're seeing what Devlin is capable of. But Dorsey's feeling the pressure because into the Andretti hairpin that time, you can see the back end of that black Radical step up just a little bit.
Yeah, he's giving it his all, no question. The car stepped out, but he's really good on that flat part. That's surprising to me. I mean, he's just got good mechanical grip.
Well, speaking of Vanderster Racing, let's get down to Brian with Gunnar.
Well, Gunnar standing right here. I know you're about to get in the car, bud, but you've got to be pumped up. I mean, Ben really holding off the Porsches right now. Anxious to get in, I would assume.
Yeah, this is a unique day for us. We've never led the class. We've never been this high up on the grid. So this is very, very special. The car is blindingly fast right now. Very, very fast.
A lot of emotions down here. Good luck. Go get your helmet on. Have fun.
Well, you can see that team is loving this moment, and deservedly so. I mean, and as a showcase for the Radical right here, obviously, this is pretty special. Now, I think it's obvious that certainly the Porsches might be on an open lap just a bit quicker right now. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's easy. This time, Dumas got a great run. But look at Devlin. Keeps that inside line, protects Maassen.
Yeah, Sasha's going to take underneath. Sasha will take second place away, too, if this pass doesn't happen. This is the end of the track that Ben Devlin's better at. The car must have good mechanical grip, because this is the part, there's no downforce, not a lot of downforce through this area, and there's no banking on the track whatsoever. It's very slippery.
Well, generally speaking,
yeah, look how much he's opened up.
With mechanical grip, that is a huge advantage regardless of aero, because if the car doesn't have mechanical grip and you got to crank in just wads of aero to make it stick, you get straight line speed deprivation because of the drag. So if you got mechanical grip, you're leg up anyway.
The Porsches definitely look better on the high-speed corners. Oh, now we got traffic to contend with. This is all the GT2 guys racing for position. There's Devlin right in front of us. Kicks up a little dirt. That's good.
He ran wide. And Dumas, that was it. What a move by Dumas, though. Dirt's going to thread the needle.
Does Maassen come with him? No, he did not. Ben Devlin's still in second place. But he definitely got held up there with the GT battle.
There's the 22 again, 61. And then the 61 who's had the off. And so these guys still though racing for position, albeit a little bit further back in the GT2 field because of developments early. And Devlin going to get by the number 22 BMW.
Well, that's good for Ben. Ben is here now. He's making an account for himself. Take a look from it. Looks like from the outside. They come up through the corkscrew. Everybody bottlenecked up. The Panos goes across the curb on the inside, trying to leave room. Devlin just got wide, too wide, got slipped up a little bit, and right up the middle.
3 abreast into rainy curve. That's impressive.
He got out in the dirty area.
Yep.
What you were talking about before, if you get offline, Ben Devlin got on the outside, had to check up, and that's all he did.
He got up there, and that Panos was right at the apex where he wanted to be and had to run a little bit wide. And so Dumas has done a nice move, a couple of them actually, and thread the needle and picks the spot up. So he now moves into the lead in the P2 class. Here are your 4 class leaders: Manassian overall, then Lavi in GT1, and Mika Salo in GT2. We'd like to remind you to log on to AmericanLeMans.com and check out the podcasting element feature, new audio and video features and coverage of the series. The new podcasting element offering has become very popular. That's AmericanLeMans.com. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, everybody, as we're coming up near the conclusion of our first hour of 4 hours of racing in the Monterey Sports Car Championship. Nicholas Manassian continues to lead. We want to take a moment and show you our Michelin tire summary, which is a look at who's running what tires in the field. And you can see 16 cars running Michelins. And Pirelli has 4, 2 each for Dunlop, Kumho, and Yokohama and Goodyear with 1. And it has been an incredible year, as always, for Michelin. And with that, let's check in with Calvin Fish with a Michelin tire tip.
Well, Greg, Michelin certainly have a great history here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Last year, they did something that no tire company has done before. They swept all 4 classes. Remember, it was the debut for the Penske team when they won in LMP2. Well, this year, they're trying to step it up another notch. Either of those Penskes can get to the 70% mark, and also if Oliver, Gavin, and Olivier Beretta do the same thing in the number 4 Corvette, they'll sweep all 4 driver titles. Now, a major reason for their success is that Michelin dedicates a tire engineer to each car in the series. One of our big friends here in the American Le Mans series is Donnie Wilson, who typically works with the Corvette team. Well, Donnie's not here today. He had some very sad news here yesterday. His father passed away, and he's certainly gone back to his family. From all of his friends at Speed, we'd like to send our respects to the family. We welcome you back next year, Donnie.
Absolutely, Calvin. He is missed, and I'm sure the Corvette gang is missing him as well, and our thoughts are with you. And well, obviously, the best thing the Corvette guys could do for him is to bring home that win.
Guarantee you. Donnie's one of the best guys, one of the engineers you can go up to. Back when I was a driver, I worked with him. But now, you know, as a broadcaster, I can go up to him and ask him a question, and he won't give me the wrong answer. He might tell me I can't tell the answer, but he'll at least give me the courtesy to let me know what I need.
He'll tell it to you straight one way or the other. Well, things have not changed a whole lot for Ben Devlin, other than the number on the nose of the car. This time it's Sasha Maassen, who's giving him everything he can. Maassen looks to the inside, and boy, Devlin made that rather easy, I thought. Meanwhile, GT1, it is heating up. as Pedro Lamy and Olivier Beretta are going at it tooth and nail right here. No matter what class, where they are on the track, the action is absolutely exceptional.
Olivier Beretta doesn't need to pass him for that position, but Olivier Beretta is a race car driver, so what's he going to do? He's going to race.
Like I said earlier, when Ollie said we don't want to change what we do too much, I think it's very tough for the two Ollies in this car to do anything other than drive hard. That's what they do incredibly well.
Well, when you start running less than what you are used to running, your timing gets all off, Greg. It's kind of strange. You turn too early sometimes, you run into curbs, you do things, and you just can't get yourself on that mental plane. So, I mean, sometimes better just to run the car at a fast pace.
Down to that corkscrew. A couple of different lines being utilized there in the approach to the rainy curve. We see that a lot. Some guys, the car sticks, they stick a little more inside. Other guys try and round it off a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of it depends on how hard you come up over.
Dyson's still right there. He's looking, he's looking. Careful with Dyson.
It depends on how hard you come off that corkscrew. Sometimes you come off that corner a little bit too hard, and then it'll make the car move over about a half a car width. There goes the Dyson he was talking about. James Weaver up the inside, taking both those cars. And that's good to have one of those spotters tell you that he's there, because sometimes you can't see him.
Weaver still running third overall, third in class at this stage. Gavin taking a look. I think he was just showing the nose more than anything else, trying to keep the Pedro Lamy's mirrors at this stage. He's all over doing the bob and weave.
Of course, both these guys, professional drivers, fully aware of what each of them are doing. They're running at 80% or 90%. They're certainly not at 10/10. There's no need to be yet.
Out of 5, up the hill. Here's that turn 6 that they're approaching into now. Not too far behind them is a very similar, almost deja vu all over again. Darren Turner in the 007 and Ron Fellows in the number 3. An equally intense battle. Just about 5 seconds behind those guys up front of them.
Of course, these guys, not in the championship, for at least the 3 car, not in the hunt for the title, can go be an antagonist if need be.
Yeah, that 007, the other driver in the car is Tomas Enga, and he, in fact, is the guy running second to the Ollies in that driver championship. So sitting 4th right now, probably not sitting real well, or excuse me, 3rd right now, not sitting real well with him at this stage. I mean, it's going to be a real stretch. As we said, if the Ollies can get past that 70%, it's theirs regardless. But Enga would sure like to make it a bit more of a contest.
Of course, the Aston and the Corvette, as we said before, running at the identical same weight this weekend, which makes them more equal. Of course, the Corvette still has a smaller restrictor on its engine, limiting its horsepower. But all in all, Danny Biggs, when I was talking to him, thought that if they could put the Corvette in front of the Aston Martin, that they would be able to win this race. Hasn't been able to get by yet.
What are they saying, about a 35 horsepower deficit?
Yep, 35 horsepower
in there.
Less horsepower running the restrictor that are currently being made to run.
So on the question for me, Dorsey, is on this track with the climbs, you got all those hills going up to the corkscrew and then the fall down. Horsepower or weight, what would you rather be disadvantaged with?
Well, the torque of those V8 engines should be enough to overcome that 35 horsepower. The 19 is finally in.
Brian?
Ben Devlin, what an opening stint for this young driver. And like Calvin said, everybody trying to pad their resumes, looking for openings for next year. Ben Devlin certainly did that with his opening stint. Gunnar van der Stur will take over in this radical SR9. The AER power has been spectacular today, really holding off the Porsches in a straight line. You got to give them that. This is a little team. They're running on Kumho tires, so it's a battle of the smaller tire manufacturers, the smaller chassis manufacturers, and the smaller engine manufacturers, and they have been holding their own. Nothing to be ashamed of down here. They had some teething problems when this car debuted at Petit Le Mans, but everything so far going flawless down here with the Van der Stur team, guys.
Well, I thought that Gunnar van der Stur did something very classy coming in here. Adam Pecorari at the Petit Le Mans weekend won the last 2 races of the IMSA Lights Championship and clinched that division. And Gunnar was watching him and thought, this kid can really drive. Gabe McCollum said, I'd like to be our 3rd driver here at Laguna Seca. So doing exactly what that IMSA Lights concept was all about, having a driver from the top tier series, an owner driver, call down and go, how'd you like to come and give us a little help? And what an opportunity for Pecorari.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not much known about these radical chassis yet. There are only a couple of them in this class running, and obviously gathering data as they go.
Hop on board.
Watch him. He's going to look inside.
Talking about Duma there in the Porsche.
The Corvette drivers getting the heads up from spotters around the racetrack. And that is a really nice thing, a nice option to have. It's not a mandatory thing as it is in some sorts of racing. You don't have to have a spotter, but boy, when you have one, it sure gives you that extra set of eyes you need around here.
Well, and I mean, here's a classic example of where it helps. You've got cars from three different divisions right now out there, and you don't know necessarily. You take a look at that sun as we're getting.
That'll get worse.
Yeah, absolutely. It's bad now. It'll definitely get worse.
Yeah, it's only 3:45 in the next hour. In the next hour, you're going to see that sun right in the faces of these drivers. And I was living here at this time of night or day, and it is really brutal. And there's not a cloud in the sky anywhere.
No, it's absolutely beautiful here, but obviously nothing to grant any shade or when you get that sun right flat in your eyes, no cloud for it to drop behind it a lot. So that's tough. But I'll tell you what, we've seen a spectacular drive today by Ben Devlin, and he's with Ryan.
Well, Ben, I know you love driving race cars, but I got to think that your stock just went up with that opening stint. The car looked to be flawless. Any big challenges out there besides those two yellow beasts that were behind you?
They're definitely a challenge. They've definitely got a good, strong race pace, and we knew they were going to be quick, and we're working on the reliability. But when we were there, there's definitely some places where the Radical is definitely a lot stronger than them through all the quick stuff. We lost out a little bit in the slow stuff, maybe with our braking, but it's going to be good, and the car didn't miss a beat. It was fantastic. So if we keep this up through the race, I think we'll be good.
And I was impressed with the Kumho tires, obviously a smaller manufacturer up against Michelin. You were able to hold your own.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They're very small manufacturer compared to Michelin and Dunlop and Goodyear, the guys out there. But they worked well. The first time at Atlanta, we spent a lot of nights through the week getting used to them, and they're really good, really strong.
Awesome job.
I second that. That was a great piece of driving, and obviously showing that Radical has tremendous potential for being as new as it is.
There's so many unknowns when you develop a new car like that. And of course, now we've got the tire issue as well. They're not on the Michelins or on the Kumho, so that's another developmental tire. I mean, at some point, if I were looking at things, I would like more known things, if you know what I'm talking about. Corvette boys and girls.
Yeah, the Corvette crew taking a serious look at what's going on out there and hoping that Olivier can make the move. Here are your 4 class leaders in the early going here at Mazda Raceway Laguna. Welcome back, everybody, and we've been watching Nick Manassian here put on a great drive, working through some traffic, and as a matter of fact, by our reckoning, one of the oldest speed records that the American Le Mans Series has just been broken, because according to our records, in the year 2000, Ellen McNish set the fastest LMP1 race lap at a 16.2 back in 2000 in the Audi R8. Well, Manassian just moments ago uncorked an incredibly quick 14.9. So that one's pretty much blown out of the water.
That is indeed. Of course, it is a repaved racetrack. It has not offered up a lot of grip, but now we're starting to put sports cars on it for the first time. Maybe the rubber's coming into the asphalt, and the racetrack might be getting better. But there's still a lot of bumps to deal with, and we'll look at those later when the headlights come on and start to really see how much bumping around there is.
Capello sits in second right there in that number 2 Audi. Not long ago, he was pretty much right behind Manassian. Manassian caught a break in traffic, the gap opened up, and then it has really stayed there as they've been catching traffic at about the same intervals. One guy will go through it, he'll get held up, the other guy loses it, and stay right about 3 seconds, Dorsey. And the question is, can Manassian, 1, keep this pace up for the entire race, and 2, the tire scenario. We've heard other guys are thinking they can certainly double stint tires, and we have not seen the creation be able to do that because the tires not as wide as the other LMP1 class tires, correct?
That's the wheel actually is 2 inches narrower on that car than it is capable of running. It's only running 14-inch wheels instead of 16 on its width. So it's a much narrower tire for sure. Tire wear, of course, because of that, is going to be at a higher rate.
There's Gunter van der Stur and that very impressive number 19 EFC Systems Radical, and coming up behind him is Manassian in the Creation Auto Sportive Creation that qualified second. And this car did have pole here in 2004, the 2004 variant of it. And they too are here along with Zytec to try and show people that these are cars you should buy if you want to run in the American Le Mans Series. And sweeping the front row is certainly a good indication.
Well, I think Manassian would have had pole. We watched his pole attempt, unfortunately, on on his fastest lap, he got held up by one of the Penske Porsches. And also the racetrack at the top of the corkscrew was nothing but slime. The cars had been off there, and he tried his darndest and only came up 2/10 short, and I think really he could have gotten the pole.
Just the back end stepping on the corkscrew may have been worth that too.
You know, a 10th there and a 10th with the Porsche, and that's all you need.
He comes up working traffic once again into the final turn. Here is Capello sitting second, and the margin last time by was 1.9 seconds. Again, all depends on who catches traffic when. We'll check it this time by as they go through the traffic back to 2.9. So it giveth and taketh away, as the old adage goes.
This is the longest green flag run these cars will have seen throughout the weekend. So finally, the engineers, when they come in, will have something to look at as far as tire wear goes, as far as temperature, and also the ability as the sun starts to go down to switch to yet a softer compound.
That's a very good point. We're at an hour and 11, about an hour and 12 minutes at this stage. So some of the cars that have not stopped for fuel and the like, when do you expect to see them in?
Well, you know, the sun's starting to set here now, and you know, the hottest part of the day is over. We're worried about that racetrack coming up. It didn't. The times that we just saw are the fastest times we've seen. In fact, the track record, as you point out.
Let's get right down to Calvin.
Jamie Bard brings the number 8 Mazda car in. Now this team certainly haven't had the speed of the Radicals here, but they got some big news coming next year. We believe there's going to be a chassis switch, possibly a new power plant. They too are running on the Kumu tires. Talking to the Kumu engineers this weekend, they said they have softer tire compounds available to them. They're certainly performing well and getting great durability. So big news expected within the month from the number 8 team.
Well, Calvin, problems down here for the number 76 Bertolotti Radical team. You see the crew working on the reservoir for the cooling system. They came in, Stuart Mosley behind the wheel has some type of an overheating issue, so the crew will go to work on that. There's a leak on the left side. Mosley with a good run early on. Michael Verger's in this car as well. He's been very quick in practice. And then, of course, Tim Greaves is one of the principals at Radical. This is an AER-powered car, much like the Vanderstar's. Only difference, Dunlop tires on this one. They need to get this problem worked out and get them back on track because they're losing valuable time sitting here in pit lane.
Of course, the first thing they have to find is where that leak is, Brian, as you just told us. Fix that leak and then repurge that system, make sure there's no air bubbles anywhere. These are very complex cooling systems, and then have they hurt the engine already or not? That's the third part.
That's the issue. Mosley, by the way, in 2001, after a great early career in open wheel racing in Europe, got hooked up with Radical as a test driver and has really been a part of this program forever. He was very impressive at the early part of the weekend. Didn't have a lot of experience on this track, but Michael Vergers did. They brought him in, and Vergers has been really instrumental in getting this car up to speed, but sad to see this problem.
Yeah. I'm hearing on some chatter on the radio, though, that the leaders now are within a couple laps of making green flag pit stops. So the boys on pit lane are going to get active here very shortly.
And there were a couple of cars that are running up near the front of that queue that made stops. The two Porsches, notably in P2, they did make stops, and you would suspect that they gathered some fuel up. So they may be at the front of this thing in not too long. And by the way, just an update on Stefan Johansson and that Zytek back up to 5th overall, 4th in P1. Now it's a bit behind. And remember, there you hear it. Manassian coming in at the end of this lap. So it's going to get busy in the 27. Horag Lista P2 category car is in as well.
They were complaining early on if they thought they had suspension problems of some sort. Probably more like tire pickup, because I heard that chatter a long time back, and the car stayed out.
Well, that's one thing you were definitely going to get here, along with some of the junk. So doing the driver change at this point. There is James Weaver running 3rd overall, 3rd in P1.
Now Weaver, I heard, had as many as 6 laps, 4 laps longer than anybody else I've been hearing to go before he needed to pit. So in fact, if that's the case, through fuel mileage, he could become the leader as well.
Now, which begs another question. One of the things we've heard all year, and we've seen it played out, is the consumption numbers of the Audi with that diesel power plant has given them big gains in terms of that. And the Zytek is in. Remember, when they did that stop and go earlier, or the stop and hold earlier, you cannot fuel, and here comes Manassian. Johansson going to stay on board. Johnny Molen, the other driver in the 15 Zytek.
Have to watch and see if they do anything.
Brian?
Nick
Nicholas Manassian stops on the marks. He climbs out. He'll pull the seat insert out. He's a much smaller individual than Harold Primat, who is getting in the car right now. He's also a much quicker driver. Primat just a couple of seconds slower than Manassian, so don't expect him to have the pace. Meanwhile, a few stops down, Johansson having his service, trying to hold on to his lead lap. But now Manassian helping Primat in the car. This should be a routine stop, taking fuel right now, doing the driver change. Remember, in American Le Mans Series competition, the crews cannot work on the car until after the fueling is done. Johansson has already passed us by and is back on track. Fueling seems to be taking a very long time down here on the creation. The crew waiting for these tires, but the fueling seems to be taking a very long time. Primat is in.
A spin, Brian. We got a spin at the exit of pit out. It is the 19 in the gravel trap, and that could bring a full course caution. And for James Weaver, that would be a huge gain.
Oh, it would be massive. That's the Van der Steur Radical, Gunnar Van der Steur.
Local yellow right now. They're also showing a debris flag for the amount of dust and gravel and sand. Here comes the 88 out.
Now, the report we're hearing is just as we went to that first shot of the 15 coming out, there was a cone bouncing in the track. And the report is that he got that cone knocked into the track and right in front of Van der Steur, trying to avoid it, spun.
Of course, that cone is off the driver's left up there.
Still sitting way out there. I think if he can get that car started, he can drive out.
He should back up, though, because he's going against the grain right now. He needs to go back into pit out, I should say. He can get traction to do that. It's a little bit of an incline right there. Now you see the headlights flashing. He stalled it. Now he's going to make it out, Greg. It's not going to be a full course.
Right in front of Weaver. To boot, brings a little bit of junk on the track. And oh, look at that. At least he's moving offline. That's, again, all of that stuff that these cars can haul up on this track.
Yeah, and there's not much he could have done about that, where he was at right there. It was just kind of a precarious place to be stuck between pit out and the racetrack.
Looks like he's got a flat left tire.
Yeah, he does. You're absolutely right. Left rear cut down on the Radical. He'll have to stop for that. And he's still dumping debris everywhere.
Now these low-slung cars, when they get in the gravel, they turn into real effective shovels.
Yeah, look at that left rear. Now he's in danger of going too quick. See what happened? Now the 15 just chunked the cone. It was him.
You know, but that cone looked like it was already laying on its side and maybe a little bit in the lane.
But behind it, now there's the Radical with the spin.
Yeah, so that cone is caught out Johansson and definitely caught out Gunnar. Calvin.
The leader is in pit lane. Dindo Capello, having completed his first stint, now turns it over to Alan McNish. These drivers won as a tandem here back in 2000, the year that McNish clinched the championship. He's now going for 2 championships here today. Dindo will win his first. But looking at this refueling rig, notice that this car was designed for Le Mans, where the refueling comes in from the right-hand side. So by having this extended fuel hose go over to the other side, it extends this fuel stop by about 4 seconds. And with the fuel restrictor, it takes about 40 seconds to get the fuel in this diesel and top it up with 90 litres. They're going to fresh tires, they're not going to be double stinting, and then the key will be how do they play the strategy with the driver rotation for the remainder of the day. Does Alan do a double and then finish it off, or are they going to alternate? Great start there by the champion squad representing Audi North America.
Well, Calvin, that's a very good point, because this is one of the few tracks that they run on that runs anti-clockwise, counterclockwise, if you will, and that can, when you've got a car designed specifically for a more normal configuration, it can create some headaches. They've dealt with it, as always, as the Audi Cam does very, very well. But here's your new leader as a result of that stop, James Weaver.
I expect Weaver will be in this lap, no question about it. They called him 2 laps ago.
All right, so Weaver leads, and Duma in P2 is now up to 2nd overall. Tomorrow on Speed, the Champ Car World Series is down to the final 2 races. Can Sebastian Bourdais clinch his 3rd consecutive title? AJ Allmendinger will have to hang 10 in Surfers Paradise to deny the Frenchman. The Champ Car World Series from Australia tomorrow, 3 Eastern on Speed. We've got ourselves a good battle unfolding as well as we ride on board with Romain Dumas, who not only is leading in P2, but is leading overall right now in the DHL Global Male Penske Porsche Spyder. As a result of pit stops, the number 16 of leader Weaver ducked in for fuel only. It was a very fast stop, but he is back out. Meanwhile, one of our points contenders in GT2 is in. Cal.
Well, this is huge. Johannes van Overbrecht brought the number 45 car in. There's been damage to the front end. One of the these radiators, which certainly have been a bit suspect on these Porsches this year, has been damaged, has had to be replaced. This is costing the team a huge amount of track time under green flag conditions. They're going to need a big break here today if they're going to maintain that championship lead for Van Overbeek. The advantage now goes to the 31 car.
Of course, that 31 car, if this car can't get going, will clinch the manufacturer's championship at the 70% mark, which we talked about in the storylines.
Well, the key is for Bergmeister to get the driver's championship. Well, we're getting some reports that maybe the 45 got into the 19, the radical, that we just didn't catch that part. See,
Vanderstur, you see the spin?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, look at the radiator. Look at the radiator on the Porsche just dumping. No doubt about it. Evidence clear. 45 did take around the 19. Of course, now that cone was in the middle of the track.
You wonder if maybe
he checked up and tried not to get to the cone.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the 009 is in, Cal.
This team certainly having a strong run, starting the race from the pole position. We're running right at the front of the pack here. Aston Martin's looking very strong, and also Pirelli's for that matter. They have really made a lot of ground throughout the season, and now have a car that's not only fast but certainly durable. Remember, this is the first time this year that both the Aston Martins and the Corvette squad have won it the same way. 1,150 kilos here this weekend. Team has done flawless pit stop. They finished second in the pit stop challenge here yesterday, so doing a great job. This car has won 2 times this year.
I was about to say these Aston Martin boys have taken a lesson from the Corvette, because yesterday in the pit stop competition, these guys shined. They were good.
Oh, they did incredibly well. And of course, with the stop here for this car, you've got Beretta now in the lead at this stage as this car heads back out. So it was a very close fought battle. The 009 back on track. Pedro Lame has handed over to Stefan Sarazan. So we go by and hit some of the pieces and parts that were left out there.
Ran over some debris there, and there's the 45, still a flying lizard car in the pit lane.
Now it's a long stop. Now take a look at the championship implications here in this car. And basically, the way that it worked out was obviously the Van Overbeek car, if they won, he was going to get the championship. Or if he finished just one spot behind York, he would get the championship. York, to win it, had to win, or he had to finish at least 2 spots ahead of the number 45. And right now, the longer the stop goes, the worse it is getting. Calvin, and for Van Overbeek, he must be awfully concerned.
He is. Johannes, this is a devastating blow to your championship hopes. What happened?
You know, I'm not sure. I passed the car coming into 11, and going up the front straightaway, he was on the outside. We got to the top of the hill, and next thing I knew, he was broadside across me. I think the guy must have got his license to have a Cracker Jack box. Unbelievable. I don't know if he turned in or slammed on his brakes. I don't know. It was way, way before the brake zone. No reason to be slowing down.
It now seems that your championship hopes are completely out of your hands. You need the 31 car to have problems for have any hope today.
At this point, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I just can't believe it.
They can't believe it. They had such a strong lead in this championship. 16-point lead before Petit. It was down to 4 coming in here, and now it doesn't look good, Greg.
Well, Calvin, what in fact did happen was that there was a cone knocked out onto the racetrack. When Vanderstur came up into turn 1, which is blind from a prototype standpoint, he saw the cone. Of course, he would have eaten that right in his face. He couldn't hit it. He had to turn across the bow of the 45. 45 never saw the cone, and they made contact. For Johannes, it's a bad way to lose a championship, and unless the 31 should break, that's over with.
Well, and you can certainly understand Johannes' frustration, but it certainly wasn't anything intentional or just a brain fade or anything on Vanderstur's part. Like you said,
we saw the cone.
Was bad.
You know, a cone in a prototype car, a cone weighs about 2 pounds. At 140 miles per hour, if that cone hits the front of your car, it takes the front of your car off. But if it comes up into your helmet, you're in deep trouble.
Absolutely. We get a report that the 19 has had another off, so maybe it's problems with that left rear tire suspension, maybe.
Yeah, left side is pouring stuff out. I don't know if that was fluid or gravel. Here off the top of the corkscrew, too much speed, couldn't get turned. Plows all the way over. The curbing, now, that would have damaged the left front possibly. I don't know if it did. What I saw was gravel obviously pouring out of left rear.
It sure junked up the tires, which is going to make it pretty iffy. By the way, for Van Overbeek, that frustration. The first year that he ran in the American Le Mans Series, the first season of American Le Mans competition, was 3rd in the championship in his class. He was 2nd in 04. He was 3rd last year. He comes in here with a shot to win, and unless something miraculous happens, not going to happen again. Let's get down to Cal.
The leaders in GT1 are currently the full machine, but now they sit on pit road for service. Ollie Gavin going to see his first action of the day. This team, of course, trying to go for 2 driver championships straight with the same driver pairing. This team won here last year, and they're going for their 5th win of the season, but it isn't going to be easy. Those Aston Martins are extremely fast, but these boys are up to the challenge. They're inching ever closer to that 70% mark, which will clinch the driver championship for them, and I'm sure they're looking for that manufacturer as well. A lot on the line here today for the bow tie boys.
Well, like that badboybets.com.
That's a new one on the side.
Ollie Gavin on board, and
a little cooler there, Greg.
And out, executing that stop. They are so good at it. I mean, they set the standard, and a lot of guys started, like we talked about the Klein Tools Challenge. A lot of guys watched how the vets were doing it and modeled and patterned their approach after it. Some have now got down to where they're just as quick or quicker on occasion.
Well, the Aston Martin boys got beaten several times last year. Oh, 31's in.
Right? Derek Bergmeister brings his Peterson White Lightning Porsche in. Patrick Long will take over. And guys, I think you're giving away a championship too early. Yeah, the 45 car is down 8 laps, but we're only an hour and a half into a 4-hour event. There are plenty of perils left out on the racetrack for these guys to get through. Right now, Bergmeister out, Patrick Long in, and they have been spectacular in endurance races, what they call races over 4 hours. So, yeah, they're strong, but like I said, there are plenty of perils left out on the racetrack. Fuel is in. The 45 goes down pit road behind us, so he's back in the competition. 4 new Michelin tires go on the Porsche. Patrick Long will head back out to the racetrack.
You are right about one thing, Brian. There's a long way to go in this contest, and that 31 can run into peril just like the 45 has.
Well, I mean, just take a look at how the season started for this team. The 31 car in the Peterson White Lightning entry wasn't pretty in the early going, and they put a streak together, and it's just kind of flip-flop for the 45. But look at it, they go, don't hit it. That's the message. If you want a championship, don't get into anything. And yeah, it's by no means done, but it sure looks tougher for Johannes.
And one thing you cannot prepare for in endurance racing, you cannot alter it in any way, shape, or form, is racing luck or the lack thereof. It bites you, and you win by it either way.
Well, and now it's just an uphill battle for the Portal player, Shortell iPass, number 45, and for these guys on board right now with Patrick Long, it's simply a matter of just stay with it, hang in there and the like. And there's Olivier Beretta, who's just gotten out after a great stint. Very fast, took that number 4 Corvette to the lead. And some of the fans here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, absolutely glorious day, watching some great racing unfolding here at this very storied track. And we're getting a report now that we're expecting the leader in GT2, Mika Salo, to head into the pits, and he does so.
This should be routine stop for the Ferrari. Slides on around there. Don't break the speed limit now.
There's the co-driver getting ready. This is Stefano Ortelli. And Brian is there.
Former Formula One ace Mika Salo gets out. Stefano Ortelli gets in, and there's a lot of rub marks on the front of this beautiful red Risi Competizione Ferrari. So obviously some rubbing going on out on the racetrack, but that's what makes American Le Mans Series so good. 4 different classes racing at the same time. As Calvin would say, there's always going to be a little argy-bargy out there, but right now Ortelli climbs in. Jamie Mello was supposed to be in the car this weekend, but had some problems with his visa getting back into the United States from Brazil. So Ortelli, a very accomplished driver as well, will share the seat with Mika Salo. Right now, getting the driver change done, the fuel going in. Fuel is in, they'll take 4 new Michelins, and they should be back out. They're running on the mediums right now. The temperature is perfect for that compound, and they should be back out in just a moment.
Well, with this stop, the Alex Job Racing number 23 Bell Micro Higher-Wise Porsche has taken the lead. Mike Rockefeller behind the wheel. Let's get down to Calvin.
The car that was running 3rd in the GT2 class is in. David Bratton having a tremendous run here on the Panos. Remember, these guys had an awesome run there at Petit in the last round with a podium finish, joined by Sebastian Bourdais, of course, on that day. But yesterday, they thought they were in trouble with tires, and boy, did they work a miracle. They found a compound that worked, that was harder, but not only was it more durable, it was also faster. David Bratton said, man, I now have a race car I believe we can do something with here tomorrow in race trim, and that's certainly what he's showing in the early going. Running 3rd, a little distance behind the Ferrari and the number 23 car, but certainly showing a lot of speed. Right now is going to be the Canadian Scotty Maxwell seeing his first action of the day.
Well,
That's one of the funny things. Sometimes a softer tire will always usually be faster, but sometimes it's so soft it squirms around on the wheel. And you go to a harder tire, you don't think it's going to help, and it does.
And you also saw one of the things when the driver getting out of the car, along with the belts and everything, he made a big point to look at Scotty and do the old, do you need fresh fluid? Do you want cold water? Scotty nodded, and they swapped out the drinks tube and the water bottle as well. So want to make sure that everything is done when that pit stop is complete. Here are your current class leaders. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. You are looking at Romain Dumas on the number 7 Penske Motorsports DHL Global Mail Porsche Spyder, leading in P2 and overall right now, and by 16 seconds over the number 1 Audi of Emanuele Pirro. So this car has been awfully impressive in the early going and throughout the weekend in terms of raw speed. And once they got the lead, they're doing okay. And we hop on board right now with Pirro, the beautiful number 1 Audi R10 TDI diesel. And again, as I said, well, it's now about 16, so yeah, it's still 16 seconds as he comes by at this point. So I think the pace we're seeing from the Porsche is very strong, Dorsey. Maybe not surprising, but impressive.
But also, they're out of sync on pit stop sequence as well. The Porsche's pretty early, so that will all go away at some point.
Now, while we were away, an absolutely amazing thing I think happened is the number 23, the Alex Job entry, as I said, had assumed the lead when the 62 Ferrari pitted. Marcel Tiemann got behind the wheel. Mike Rockefeller handed off. They completed their stop, got back out on the track, and never gave up the lead. You just saw the Alex Job Porsche go by. There is the Ferrari. Dorsey, that was an amazing pit stop. I think one of the best of the season.
No doubt about that. They nailed him on pit lane, got the driver change done quickly, everything, surface work accomplished, and out with a big lead. Speaking of big leads, that 15 or 16 second lead you were talking about that Romain Dumas has for the overall lead is going to go away in about 1 lap because, as I said, yeah, he's going to have to pit maybe a couple more laps.
Well, there we go. There's the 6 and the team car and the 2. The team car of Alan McNish. This is the battle for 3rd overall right now. And McNish all over the back of Sasha Maassen as they come down the front straight, working by the GT2 car right now. Make the pass, and McNish is hounding Maassen big time here at this stage. Looks to the inside. No, not going to make it this time. Now, part of the problem is that cone affecting the line for cars in there and therefore affecting passing.
I just saw that cone too, and I was surprised that someone hadn't gone out there during that last full course caution and picked it up and chucked it out the way. It might be affecting a little bit, but I wouldn't think a great deal. That's that one that was from the wreck down before, but you'd think somebody would have gone out there. It has been a full course, but you know, if you were a corner rookie, you'd run out there, right?
I'd send somebody. I delegate. I have no problem with that at all. Watching this battle. Now, as we watch this battle, there was a question I wanted to ask very quickly about that very quick stop for Alex Job. With the pit sequencing with that 4-hour distance over 2:45, does that give you a little bit of play time in the window? Could they have short fueled a little bit?
They very well could have short fueled. Ooh! You saw right there, McNish loose, comes and slams the Audi down. You saw the sparks flying off from underneath. Doubt any damage is done.
That gives you an idea of how violent a drop that is. If you get offline, it's amazing.
It's speed. If you'll go airborne over that if you carry too much speed. In the meantime, this early Penske pit stop for fuel only is kind of a play into their hands. Watch this. Alan McNish will be the 2nd car in your frame. There's the 6th. Now McNish, too much speed right here. He'll do a little wheelie just about and slam down, ooh, hard on the right rear. And then that, of course, throws the left front down hard. Look at the thing bouncing around. It's not as smooth racetrack as you would think.
Not after repaving, absolutely not. So we're expecting to see Dumas make a stop fairly soon.
And that was a strategy called early on by the Penske boys to pull the cars in, do fuel only, and of course the 6 came back in again after that one.
And they had to change the nose out on that car.
And we never did see what caused that problem.
So Dumas down through the corkscrew one more time. Manassian, yes, it is limping.
He's been off the road.
Actually, excuse me.
It's Prima, and he's been off the road on the exit of turn 9. You see all the dust flying from behind him. Will he come in the pit lane now?
No, he doesn't. Stays out. He doesn't think there was any damage to the car, and he just dirtied the tires up. Obviously, it's way too soon to come back in and do a stop, put Manassian behind the wheel, so Fremont stays on board.
He just slipped wide of turn 9 and got out on the outside and brought it back under control, back on the race surface.
this is a brand new program for Harold Fremont. Obviously, Nick Manassian has been driving the creation in the similar cars that are all sort of evolved from the same basic Reynard chassis years ago for a while, and he is just a master in it.
Oh, that was 45 is off. Don't know which one yet. It was off on the outside.
That's 44.
Flying Lizard Racing Porsche.
Darren Law, I think was the starting driver in that, but I think they may have made the drivers change.
Looking for punctured tires, but I don't think there is one. I think he's okay. But let's take a look at what happened to Harold Fremont. This is on board. Oh, just like I said, he got wide on the outside and just skated off the racetrack and brought it back under control. Oh, no, he did spin. He did a complete spin across the top of the curbing. But again, we talked about this curbing here is made for motorcycles. And it's not tall enough to make any effect whatsoever. But look at the junk on the racetrack that we talked about at the beginning of the show.
That's right on, I mean, track out if you really go through that turn fast, isn't it?
There we go.
And Dumas has finally made the call into the pits. He has brought the Penske Racing Porsche Spyder in. And their third pit stop.
We won't know till the end if this strategy was a good or a bad one.
Dumas getting out. And I think Brian is there.
Dumas is out. Lucas Luhr is in. You saw the seat insert come out. Once again, Lucas much taller than Timo. A routine stop. I talked to the team. Yeah, they're going to try to get that driver's title shared between Sasha Maassen and Lucas Luhr. But John Erickson said, we're going to have to let Roger Penske say, no, Lucas, you can't, or no, Sasha, you can't win. Calvin?
Well, the P1 leader is in, and this is the number 1 Audi R10 that had the problems early and in fact went down a lap, so they're definitely in recovery mode. But their drivers won Le Mans this year, but they've had a lot of success here at Laguna Seca also. Biela's had 3 wins, Pirro 2 here. They'd certainly like to add to that tally. Let's go back to Brian.
Awesome stop down here. Lucas Luhr is now away, and what I was talking about, remember, Sasha Maassen wants to share that with Lucas Luhr, but Roger Penske calls the shots on the number 6 with Sasha Maassen in it. John Erickson said, having Roger Penske say, no, you can't win. That's just not something Roger does, Calvin.
Well, another good stop going on here by the Audi boys, but that refueling with the diesel certainly seems to take an eternity here. They anticipate it to be close to 40 seconds. Biela stalls momentarily. Right now, he's struggling to get fire back into this R10 diesel, and he's underway. Lost precious seconds there. They can't afford any more mistakes today.
Well, that was one of the things that tells you something about this diesel, and if you're at the racetrack, it always blows you away. But there was a classic example. The starter motor was louder than the engine in this car when it got...
And unlike a lot of American truck diesel, etc., that use a glow plug that has got to be warmed up before you can fire, these don't do that.
Well, the 3's in, Cal.
While the Corvette Aston Martin battle continues, Ron Fellows shaking his head as he goes over the wall. He's not happy about something there. I don't see any problem with the pit stop thus far. Johnny O'Connell's been fast here all weekend long. In fact, was the fastest of the Corvette drivers in qualifying. He certainly wants to finish off the season on a high. This team, this driver tandem has certainly had a bit of a drought going the last couple of years. They did win at Road America, and they certainly want to finish that season on a high.
Calvin, Harold Fremont has just spun a second time. The 88 has just come off a second spin in about as many laps.
Well, and I think as we watch the number 3 Vet with Johnny O'Connell behind the wheel now gets back on course, I think for Fremont, as we go back to take a look at it, Dorsey, and I think it's the track conditions and the junk on the track is catching this guy out. He's not on the level of a Manassian, and he's paying the price.
There you see him outside, it's coming down out of the corkscrew, setting up for 9, and he had the outside tires in the dirt and spins the car. You got to have car placement perfect around this racetrack because of all this dust and debris. You can't get offline half a car width and hope to stay on the road.
Well, and I mean, isn't it even taken really almost another step further than that? Is you can come into a corner that the last lap, perfect spot, a placement on line was great. Somebody's come through and dropped a tire, and now it's got junk on it. You've got to be able to get through that, skate through it, if you will, at a level, you know, a Manassian, a McNish. These guys can do that.
In particular, turn 6. And also up there in the corkscrew, and also, you know, as you go into turn 1, those are blind corners from the driver's perspective. And if someone's gone across the racetrack and drug it full of dirt and marbles, well, you get there, it's too late.
And of course, with the stops, we now have Alan McNish, and the number 2 Audi is in the lead. And it was while the pit stops were unfolding, I think McNish got around Maassen here. Oh boy, did he! Got a great run, Dorsey.
I think it's defensive, or Maassen trying to be defensive and pinch him down. Alan had none of that.
He gave him a little bit back when he got alongside, didn't he?
Well, with the Audis now, we haven't seen too much side-to-side hitting on the R10 yet, but we know that the R8 was a tank, a blitzkrieg tank, knocked people off the road with.
Boy, once he got by Maassen, he opened up a big lead in a hurry. And I don't know whether Maassen got hooked up with some traffic, but it was a big margin. McNish opened up in a big hurry, and the 007 Aston Martin is in. Cal.
It is. Darren Turner had a sensational run there in the early going, taking the car to the front. Thomas Enger seeing his first action of the day. He still has an outside chance at that driver championship, but for that to happen, the full car has to hit problems and has to hit them pretty soon before that 70% mark. So right now, just waiting for the 90 litres of fuel to go in. Pirelli tires, there's a slight fire here on the right front. Don't think it's a big problem, just maybe some straw or something inside the wheel. Shouldn't be an issue. Let's go to Brian.
Sasha Maassen has climbed down to his number 6 Porsche. Timo Bernhard has taken over. Routine stop right on the mark. Sasha Maassen came right to the marks. He's out. Fueling is done, and 4 Michelins will go on. Remember the domination that Penske showed us at Mid Ohio when these two cars ran 1-2. Could we see it again? We'll find out. They have been very strong here.
Well, they have, and of course, remember, it was this race last year where this car made its debut and just destroyed the P2 category with Maassen and Moore behind the wheel. So it certainly likes this track.
Well, and it's going to be its last time liking it as they get brand new chassis once again for next year. So it's been a good outing for this car.
There's an evolution of this Spider that is being done and brought on board for next year, make it a little bit more user-friendly for potential buyers. Your 4 class leaders, McNish leading overall. Back in Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, a huge development. Your overall race leader, Alan McNish, is in due to contact. Calvin.
There's damage to this right front, and they're going to have to change the complete nose here. This shouldn't be a big problem unless there's suspension damage underneath. We saw them struggle at Petit Le Mans with the sister car with damage to a wishbone, but cost them about 10 minutes. In fact, right at the end of the race, they never got the car back on track. This R10 chassis is a little bit more complex than the R8 and is not quite as durable, and if they do damage suspension pieces, it's not quite as a quick a fix. So right now, the team had their hopes pinned on the 2 car with the problem with the 1 car earlier. What has happened here? They can't get the nose on. I believe the wrench on the other side dropped down when they were putting the nose on. That is missing and may in fact be stopping this nose from going on completely. Doesn't look like it's created a problem now, but we're covered. McNish back on the deck. Flips it done up. He's back underway.
Wow.
And that was all precipitated with contact with the 88 creation. We'll show you that in a minute as McNish heading out. Watch it here, Dorsey, heading into the corkscrew.
Up the hill to the corkscrew. Of course, Alan McNish goes to the inside, but oh no, actually, you know, he blamed that on Premat, and I don't think that's Premat's fault at all. Premat was trying to respond to the 2 cars in front of him, trying to get to the inside. But look, now the spin. McNish spins and takes the 6 Porsche to the gravel track.
You can see all the junk on the track, and as he was going to throttle with all of that torque on a downhill grade with all of that junk, it just got around on him again. There's another look at it, watching the back, Dorsey.
Now 87, the blue car, moves to the inside to try to get underneath the Aston Martin. Of course, by that time, McNish thought he had the door open and they make contact. But I don't blame that on Harold Premat.
I don't blame it. That to me looks like a racing incident. I mean, and there's the follow-up again, just that downhill slope and all that stuff. And it really messed up the Porsche a bit. Another angle.
Of course, this is after contact has been made. And of course, now watch McNish in the 2. He tries to come down the hill, gets on the power, too much, no grip, spins. That takes the 6 off into the gravel trap. No contact between the 2 cars.
Go back up top to that chopper. Look, you can see it here.
Well, you see Harold Premat try to move to the inside. He either tried to block Alan McNish or was trying to get underneath the Aston Martin. In any event.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost think, Dorsey, the way it looked was McNish moved over, thought he had the lane, and then Premat thought at the last second, well, I'm going to try and get underneath this guy, and they both went for the same spot.
Now, when things start to go bad, they stay bad. I just heard from the number 2 car that the number 2 car might, in fact, have a wheel loose. Alan McNish thinking that a wheel is not put on properly.
Or remember that problem with the wrench as well, and don't know whether that could be creating issues. Calvin.
Here with Brad Kettler oversees the operations down here for McNish, and Brad, We understand Alan is going to be penalized for the contact there. How do you see it, and what does Alan say?
Well, Alan definitely feels he's being unfairly penalized because of the contact. He explained to us what happened. It clearly wasn't his fault. The car he had contact with has spun 4 times in the last 11 laps. We think they should review it and reverse the decision. They probably won't do it, but we definitely feel it's unfair.
What state is the car in right now, Brad? You changed the nose. Is everything good?
At the moment, it appears to be okay. It was localized damage on the right front, and they changed the tires as a precaution, and everything should be okay, but it set us back quite a bit.
It's going to be a long road ahead for these guys to step onto that top step of the podium here today as McNish comes down pit lane. He'll go to the penalty box. He'll stop and be held for 15 seconds.
Ooh, did he just give somebody a gesture?
Well, he was at least shaking his fist. He is not happy. There's no question of that. And I don't know whether a penalty was necessary. I think it was just a racing incident. He went for the pass, and Premont popped for the pass.
Where it happened up on top of that braking zone, and with the move over, whether Harold moved over to try to get inside the Aston Martin or he was blocking, it doesn't make any difference. It was just a bump racing incident, and this penalty is a bit excessive.
I would agree, and away he goes. So now, well at the back.
He will now show us what the Audi is capable of speed-wise.
Yeah.
We've seen him before. When you get this little guy mad, now stand back.
Well, Calvin likes to call him a terrier, and when this terrier gets to frothing at the mouth and get a bit rabid, he is something special to watch.
And I think we're about to see that.
I think it's going to be pretty spectacular. But with all of this activity, James Weaver and the Thetford Norcolt Dyson Lola is now your overall and P1 race leader. We'll be right back. Well, things changing up in a big hurry as we're just about at halfway here in the Monterey Sports Car Championship. It is now Stefan Johansson in the Zytec, second car on your screen. That has assumed the lead. He is trying to get around. That is the lap car of the number 1 Audi at this stage and put him down a lap. Well, not quite down a lap at this stage. But here's how Stefan Johansson ended up getting the lead back as we went to break. It was James Weaver on point, but didn't last long. Weaver trying to get around Mercy the Mazda.
Weaver, the overall leader, gets pushed into the dirty stuff out on the outside of the exit of the corkscrew. You see him with a good save, but he's got to really get on the brakes hard. 15 gets underneath him, takes the lead in the Audi, out of control almost. That is a lap that he doesn't want to lose.
No, he's doing everything he can right now because if he gets a caution, he's getting the back of the pack. If he goes down the lap, it's a bad day for the Audi all around. Now, here's the rest of what unfolded here. Boy, Weaver got crossed.
Yeah, Weaver with a great save. Of course, he couldn't do anything about the fact that he's losing the lead right then.
Johansson was able to just straight line it, pull right on by, and picked it up. This is something fairly. It's an Aston Martin.
It's one of the 2 Aston Martins that has made big contact with the prototype.
Looks like it might be the Lista, the Horag entry at P2.
This will be a full course caution. I can guarantee that is the Lista.
And the 009 was the Aston Martin Stefan Sarazan. The other car involved in it is the 27 Lista entry. Freddie Lienhard driving right now. And there's the 009. So
I don't see a lot of damage on the 009 yet, but the 27 has completely lost the front nose cone, the whole under tray. That car won't go by itself. We'll get a caution. It's just a matter of when they figure it out.
And Mr. Biela's efforts to stay in the lead just paid off huge. Stay on that lead lap. And there's gravel and junk. He was definitely skating through the gravel trap.
But I don't see any damage to the car whatsoever. Freddie Lienhard, on the other hand, is...
so maybe he took evasive if Lienhard went off.
He could have gone through the gravel to try to get out. There she is. I knew that was coming.
Full course caution is out. Again, a godsend for Biela.
3rd time in this race for Biela to save it. Here's a look at what goes on. Lienhard spins on his own, no help from anyone. And that is James Weaver doing a great job of avoiding the accident. But look, the Panos was the one involved with the front end. And 009 goes around the outside without damage. A good read of that crash.
It was a great read by Sarazan to avoid the incident, but the Panos had nowhere to go. It was completely blind because when Weaver moved, there was Freddie Lienhard just sitting there. And that front end has been seriously clunked. And here comes the 15, Stefan Johansson coming in, but the pits were closed, or are closed. Now, if he got in,
This could be a rookie's team mistake being made right here. Pits are closed and they make a pit stop, which will draw a substantial penalty.
Brian?
Well, it's a routine stop. I don't think they realized yet their mistake. Johansson is out. Johnny Mollem getting in. Mollem saying this prototype 1 car, very difficult to get a handle on here from the GT1 car that he was used to. It's more difficult than when he was trying to get used to it at Road Atlanta. We just got confirmation that the pits were closed, so there will be a penalty on this stop. That is something that you wouldn't expect to see. This team is relatively new to American Le Mans Series competition, but they've been around for a while. But Dorsey, I don't know any other way to call it, but a rookie mistake.
No, you know, and here's what's strange about it, Brian. The pit close sign is right where that crash was, just about. There's Lienhardt, got out of his race car. He's okay, kind of discussing what happened there. But yet, communication to the pits, they should have known that that pit lane was closed, and they should have communicated, do not come in, pits are closed. But that mistake has been made. Now we have to see what penalty is assessed.
The only thing that might be a factor here is if they were stumbling out of fuel. I mean, there's a certain point sometimes you
well, then it'd be yeah, you don't have no chance, no, you know.
Still more chance.
But I don't know if that's the case. I think this.
I don't either.
I think this could be a rookie mistake. I mean, just they were so anxious to get their pit in, get it over with, and get that track position. And now the discussion going on. That's Dick Martin, long-time official. I've sat in front of him several times and he told me not to go.
Just have a good race anyway. So
he's very even tempered.
That's what he told him. Brian?
You see the crew member talking to Dick Martin, one of the officials, and Dick saying, fair enough, you had to have fuel. I know you wanted to come to pit road, fair enough, but you had a choice. You didn't have to work on the car. You could have left it until the pits were open, or you can send it. If you send it, the stewards are going to have to make the final decision as to what happens.
Well, fuel was an issue then. Good call on your part, Greg.
Well, every once in a while, when a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Damage on the left front.
Yeah, a little bit.
Of the 15. Nothing substantial.
So the question is what's going to unfold here in terms of any potential penalties. And there is the cleanup at this moment, and we believe it was the number 50 Panos, which in the hands of Brabham and now Scotty Maxwell had been having a great run.
And had nowhere to go.
Oh, because, no, totally blindsided.
I mean, basically, with Lienhardt spinning, the 50 has already been put behind the wall to the garage, so they have substantial damage that we didn't get to see, but they're back in the garage working.
They just came off their best race as a team at Petit 3 weeks ago with a 3rd and a 4th place finish, and they were looking forward to having certainly look like a great run here, but it's come to tears. Your 4 class leaders were past halfway. Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Mazda. There's a soul of a sports car in everything we make. And by Klein Tools, tools worth asking for. Well, we're under yet another full course caution here at the Monterey Sports Car Championships, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Great to have everybody with us. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Dorsey Schrader in the booth, Calvin Fish and Brian Till down in the pit lane. And as this caution continues, there is the reason, the cleanup for the Freddie Lienhardt accident where the number 50 Panos of Scott Maxwell just came in, was blind. Suddenly, the car appeared and he hit him. We get a report the 50 is already behind the wall, but a substantial cleanup unfolding here, Dorsey.
3rd caution of the day. Unfortunately, all 3 cautions exactly right in this same corner.
Absolutely. Now, as we look at this incident scene, one of the great pieces of news was that Freddie Lienhardt hopped out right away and was absolutely fine. But one of the things that this series does incredibly well is have response vehicles should an incident be severe and they need to get medical or extraction tools on scene as fast as possible. And recently, Porsche made a major gift to the International Motorsports Association to help exactly have that happen. And recently, we had a little chat with Kim Mayer of IMSA, who explained exactly what this special vehicle is all about.
Well, in an emergency, we have 2 imperatives. The first is to get a lot of equipment, heavy equipment, water, firefighting capability to the scene. And when you see our big safety trucks going, that's what we're taking there. But the Porsche Cayenne allows us to get our doctor and our extrication specialist and people with lighter equipment but specialized knowledge to the scene anywhere on the racetrack as quickly as possible. And the Cayenne is a perfect vehicle for doing that. It's fast, it's responsive, and it can carry equipment as well. So this is a great addition to our team.
take a look at that beautiful vehicle right there. Again, the 2006 Cayenne. It's the S Titanium edition, and it is the second response vehicle, as you referred to. It actually supports the first response vehicle, which is another Porsche Cayenne, a black one in this case. It's a turbo, which carries a physician as well as extraction tools. So very special program that IMSA has, and a lot of help coming there from Porsche. Let's get down to Calvin.
Well, the championship leaders in GT1 are making a pit stop here as Ollie Gavin going to stay behind the wheel, do a double stint here. With this caution period, this should put this team in pretty good shape. From here, they should be able to make the finish with just one more stop for fuel and tires. Fresh set of Michelin's going on. So these boys looking in pretty good shape. They need that 70% mark, which to make it safe will be around the 3-hour mark. They're well on the way to the championship.
Yeah, fortunately for us, having a 4-hour race, it makes it 70% some easy math. And in essence, now, it isn't related to time. It's actually related to total laps that are run. But obviously, in a timed event, you can kind of coordinate that with that timing factor in terms of a third hour in or thereabouts in a 4-hour race. So these guys are looking pretty good.
Yeah, looking solid for sure.
So we continue with this full course caution at this stage. Again, we're going to let things sort out just a little bit. That cleanup continues at this point. So a good opportunity for the field to do whatever they can and get that all taken care of. And folks, it's a great opportunity for you to explore fantasy racing on AmericanLeMans.com, because frankly, it has just taken off. So log on today to race against other drivers and fans on the series' best road courses, win prizes, and follow the world's best sports car series action. That's AmericanLeMans.com. Well, Timo Bernhard back in the lead in P2 in the Porsche, but of course it's under caution. We'll hope to be going green very, very shortly. Sunday on Speed, don't miss the Speed Report. Go beyond the highlights and beyond the stats and get the why with the Speed Report. Sunday, 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Speed. There's the good news. The number 27 of Freddie Lienhardt's is up on the wrecker, or excuse me, on the flatbed, and they're getting that vehicle removed. The rest of the cleanup looks like the bits and pieces, Dorsey, that were strewn liberally about are pretty much cleaned up. And I'm guessing that we saw a lot of oil drag going down was probably from coolant and the like from the paint or the panos that was involved in that, and that looks to be pretty much cleaned up as well. So hopefully we'll be going back to green very soon. But if you were just joining us, maybe we take you back and show you what has unfolded thus far. And with our race recap at the front, at the very start up front, it was the Zytek of Johansson that ripped into the lead fairly early here. Manassian on the outside. You saw him trying to go 4 abreast in, and an aggressive move by Pirro, just nudging the team car. And then the Aston Martin on the start, Dorsey, from back in the angle, got by both vets that were qualified in front of him.
Read the stack up really good, moves to the outside, and does gain the position.
Then a big moment here. Watch the number 15 Zytek get inside the 61 Ferrari, loosen him up just enough. Off goes the Ferrari. Johansson tried to get underneath and inside the curb to avoid hitting him. He got a penalty. The 6th was in. Nose change. That took a little bit of extra time. Then some great action, as we often see here in GT1. The number 4 of Olivier Beretta down underneath the 009 Aston Martin and took at that point the lead away. Then Stefan Johansson coming out after a pit stop, clipped a cone, and looked like it was relatively harmless at this point.
But boy, that cone caused trouble. As you see right there, the 19 tries to dodge a cone, 45 into the side of the 19, big damage.
And that has huge implications in the championship at GT2. And this big moment when Harold Premott, who had spun 3 or so times previously, got into it with Alan McNish, and the corkscrew McNish then followed it up, Doris, with another spin.
Porsche takes avoiding action, goes through the gravel trap. And then James Weaver with a great save as he goes wide of the corkscrew exit.
But that was
pass for the lead.
A pass for the lead as the Zytek got through, and then most recently Freddie Lienhardt right there. You saw the Panos just drill Lienhardt. He was completely unsighted. Scott Maxwell was in the Panos as soon as Weaver moved out of the way, and that is what gave us this long caution and the cleanup at this part. So yeah, boy, look at that. You see the Wiedersehen on the Sunstrip there.
M3.
And this is the Prototype Technology Group program, and looks like it may be their last race with BMW. And standing by is Brian with Tom Milne.
Well, it says Wiedersehen on one and goodbye on the other BMW. Tom Milner, BMW, you guys have been a big part of American Le Mans Series competition in the past, but no more. How bad does it hurt to see BMW go away?
Well, it's a sad moment in a way. For us, a long relationship with BMW. We love these cars, and we've tried real hard this year, and winning the pit stop competition was a great achievement yesterday, and my heart's pounding just a little bit thinking about it, but there's always the future, and I believe that we will be here next year, running, I'm sure, in GT2. Don't ask me with what, okay?
How'd you know where I was going with that? I knew you weren't a quitter. I knew we'd see you back. You're not going to tell us, are you?
Well, honestly, I don't really know right now. There are several opportunities for us. I think that as one of the most successful GT teams, we can wait a little bit, not very long, because we all want to do something, trying to get ready for next season. But yes, this is a sad moment, and on the 21 car, we're now in 4th place, so we'll hopefully maybe we can get on the podium. But it basically says Auf Wiedersehen, which basically means we see you next year.
I want to hear you say, we'll be back.
We will be back.
I knew it, guys. These guys are racers. They're not going anywhere.
Well, you know what? If you literally translate Auf Wiedersehen, it's not goodbye or farewell. It's until next time. And I think next time will be at Sebring. May not be BMW Team PTG, but the Prototype Technology Group in the hands of Tom Milner will be back and will be as successful as ever. Make no mistake. We'll be right back as well. We are back, still under caution, however, expect to be going green fairly soon. And I want to remind you that the number 2 just made a stop. Alan McNish bringing the car in and taking advantage since they got a little bit out of sequence with that contact and penalty and light topping off with fuel. And the 009 Aston Martin also taking advantage of the opportunity late in the going to get some fuel. And a lot of things unfolding here. We talk about drivers a lot, but the teams have a very special, obviously, involvement. And yesterday, the Klein Tools Pit Crew Challenge unfolded. And along with a huge check, this is the trophy that the teams and the crews were going for.
Klein Tools done a really good thing here to have this presentation. It means a lot more to the teams than I think even the people at Klein Tool know. So, Rick, everybody at Klein Tools, thank you very much.
Well, it is truly an opportunity for the unsung heroes of the sport, the crews, to show what they can do. And in the final round qualifying, we actually, Dorsey, had a dead heat.
Watch here as the Corvette and the BMW cross the lines, 4:17 each.
Unbelievable time, but it was a round robin, and the final 2 came down to the 009 Aston Martin and the 21 BMW team from PTG. When that flag dropped, Dorsey, that was the simulated refueling's done. Now it's the crew's job.
No mistake can be made right now, Greg. You got to hit your mark, put the tire on, get the wheel nut on, and watch this exit.
He was down first. Oberlin drives away, and look at the reaction by the PTG crew. They knew what they had done. This was their moment, truly in the sun, Dorsey. And look at that check, 20 grand. This was one happy group.
That's a great group, and they did a great job to get the job done.
Without question. And here's the rest of the distribution of the money, $100,000 throughout the season from Klein Tools. That's awesome. Just an incredible moment there. Oh boy, not such a good moment here. This is the number 12 entry that had a little bit of problem earlier and is back underway, but now is off in the gravel and under caution. So you wonder if something did break or something happened here.
Well, we might know in a minute. You see that flame is normal. It's just a load up exhaust system. Let's take a look and see what happened to the poor old 12.
Don't try to start.
Goes down in pit. Now, just unforced error by himself on the outside. And backs it into the gravel track where he sits.
Well, a lot of the teams very upset with the way this pace lap is going right now behind the full course caution because the field is very spread out. They were down here in the 31 at the Peterson White Lightning team very angry with the 12 car because they were holding everybody up. They want the field to close up behind the pace car because they want to be able to catch up with the competition in front. And the field really, really spread out around Laguna Seca right now.
You know, Brian Willman way back in terms of the running order, and I think just recently got behind the wheel of that car. And obviously this track is fairly junked up and dirty and the like. and he just couldn't get it up to speed very quickly. When he tried to, it looked like got around.
Well, outside of turn 1 might have been dirt out there, cold tires possibly, but for whatever reason, the spin puts him in the gravel trap, and now the lights back on the pace car, as they'll have to drag him out, bringing more gravel onto the racetrack. And nobody's going to be happy about it, because it's starting to be hard to see out here. The sun coming down, it's going to be a factor for the driver's eyes. You can't be seeing all the rocks and gravel on the racetrack when you're really just trying to see where you're going.
So it's going to extend this caution, obviously, and that is not something that everybody wanted to necessarily see, except the guys that were getting held up just a little bit.
Chris Dyson takes a look over and going, what's this about?
Yeah, what's going on here? And you can see the stuff on the outside of the track anyway. So at this stage, obviously, they're just trying to trundle around behind the pace car. But, you know, it's an interesting thing here as we're watching this car. 21 years ago this year at Lime Rock, Rob Dyson debuted his Porsche 962, stepping up for the first time into the prototype ranks in the International Motorsports Association. And
you know, I go back with Rob. That was his pro debut, but I go back with Rob racing against him in way back in the late 70s, I'd say. And he had a Datsun 510 and I had a 610.
He's been running it for a long time, and today, of course, all season, and we've seen him today on occasion, this car has been up scrapping with the Audis, who have obviously been fairly bulletproof. And one of the reasons, I think, Calvin, is the involvement and just the dedication and determination of a man you're with.
Exactly, Greg. I'm here with Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. Quite a race today. We've seen a little bit of everything. What are your thoughts thus far? Can you recover here and get to the front again?
I mean, we have seen many things going on. Both cars had unplanned pit stops, and we also have been involved in accidents. So there's really something going on. But we try to make the best out of it, and we go for the end. We want to be in a good position at the end. Maybe we can win.
Tremendous season for you, debut in diesel technology in the American Le Mans Series. You came out, you won Sebring, you got Le Mans, you've won the championship. Have you achieved all the goals for this season?
If we win this race, yes.
And what about next year? There's going to be a new challenge, Peugeot coming on board for Le Mans and running in Europe next year with diesel power also. What do you do during the winter period to make sure you're in a good position for next year?
Yeah, we are going to make our homework as we did it all the years. There's quite something going on over the winter, and I'm looking forward for the next season.
Okay, congratulations on a great year. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
What an accomplishment. If they could win this race, an undefeated season by a car, never been done, 10 out of 10 with a new technology, with a new diesel technology. Quite amazing.
Well, the amazing thing is yeah, in its debut year. That's the amazing thing. Number 3 is in. One of the CompuWare vets, Johnny O'Connell, has brought that car in, came in 3rd in the category behind the Aston Martin Avenger and then the team car of Gavin. And one of the things is obviously this car, O'Connell and Fellows, not really in the Drivers' Championship hunt, but can play a huge role in the Manufacturers' Championship by having a strong run here.
Absolutely.
And that's what they're all about today.
See the headlights flashing on and off. What that is the pit lane speed limiter is engaged. In other words, when they leave the pits, the car on its own will not go past the speed limit set for the pit lane. Those headlights flashing lets you know, it indicates that that program is sequenced into the computer.
And we go back, and here's another look at Chris. And as I was actually talking about the fact that some 21 years ago, this team moved up into the prototypes. Dorsey, obviously, you had a lot of experience running with them even before that and being around them. But here's the interesting stat. When they did that, of the 12 teams that started that Lime Rock race over 21 years ago, there's only one still competing, and it's this team, Dyson Racing. And many, many people and some historians say that Dyson Racing has been a stabilizing and life-saving force in sports car racing that time. North American sports car racing is extremely fortunate that some 3 decades ago, a New York businessman caught the racing bug bad. And as Rob Dyson's team moved up through the ranks, his approach has remained constant. It's all about family.
We started in the amateur level. I was the first pit crew member. I was responsible for love, nutrition, for foremost, and I was also in charge of packing the car. And I had a full-time job. I was teaching full-time elementary school, and we would pack the car and go to all these different tracks. And I didn't know that much about auto mechanics, so I went and took auto mechanics 1 and 2 at BOCES. And I learned a lot about cars. I know more about cars now than I ever want to know.
Dyson is one of those rare teams where a huge proportion of the team has been there for ever. You know, a lot of the team has never worked for another team while they've been in motor racing, so they've just grown up with Dyson Racing. Some of the guys have been here 20 plus years, 23 years, and it really is like a whole family growing up together.
When Dyson Racing completed its transition to prototypes 21 years ago, that philosophy also applied to the drivers Rob chose as partners in his quest to battle the factories.
Nelson Legend is the first place I remember seeing him. And I remember he's instantly fast, because he always, you know, when he got to the racetrack on the weekend, you'd look down the entry list, or I would, and I'd see who the competition was. You know, say, oh, well, he's good, he's no good. And I remember seeing Rob Dyson and thinking, well, I don't know who's he, but, you know, he can't be any good. You never heard of him before. And I remember he was really fast. And from then on, you know, he was always one of the people, my dad and Paul Newman and Bill Kuykendall and a few other people that were always just racing really hard and really enjoyable racing.
The first time I came over to America, I raced at Riverside, and Rob and Price won driving the 962, and I was driving for Bob Aiken. And when I was a schoolboy, I was a great Pedro Rodriguez fan, and the last race he won in a Porsche 917 was at the Ostrite Ring, carrying number 16. And so I turned up in the States, and there's the old number 16 Porsche winning. I went, right, that's the team for me then.
With son Chris now at the helm, the friendly enthusiasm of this ultimate independent remains unchanged, and their fierce desire to take on the best with the best continues.
You know, the beauty of our team is we've got a lot of continuity, and we've got a culture that's kind of carried us through the years. And it's terrific to carry on the family tradition, not only behind the wheel, but also, you know, running the team. And I don't view it as a pressure-packed situation. I view it as a terrific opportunity.
You know, it is a very relaxed place to be, and I think everybody absolutely enjoys what they're doing, and we're all incredibly fortunate because, you know, if it wasn't for Rob allowing us to do this, you know, our lives would be a lot grayer, to say the very least.
As with the competition at the very top levels of sports car racing, you know, one thing he did, sure, Rob drove, but he always had a car that kept pro drivers employed. And at the peak of the GTP era, they ran 3 962s, drivers named Ray Hall, Price Cobb, Johnny Dumfries, Scott Pruitt, John Paul Jr., Drake Olson, of course, Leitzinger, Weaver. It's just an amazing story.
Well, Rob Dyson is going to endeavor to write a book, and I am pleased to say that I will be sharing a chapter as a driver for Rob Dyson in that book. And, it will be fascinating because he is employed and kept a bunch of us boys with a job. It's not a real job, but, you know, a fairy tale job.
Exactly, a dream job.
Dream job, absolutely.
And you know what? With great success since then, since that race at Lime Rock, 52 wins, 16 driver and team championships. So pretty spectacular, and a lot of people. I thought Weaver said it beautifully there. Our lives would have been a lot grayer, as would everybody as well. And we get a report, Calvin, the number 2 might be coming back in again?
Well, no, they've actually been in, Greg. Alan McNish was down pit lane. They threw some fresh Michelins at him and topped him up with diesel fuel. So I asked why, and Brett Kettler said, well, we didn't anticipate bringing him in, but this caution period has gone on for such a while now. When he pitted, there's about 1 hour and 29 minutes left in this race. We talk about the diesel fuel economy, certainly very good. He said we need just a little bit of help with the yellow. We could be able to go the rest of the way with no more stops. So that's a big strategy call. They waited for McNish to get the wave around, brought him in, topped him up with fuel. Then that second pit stop has kept him on the lead lap. He may not be seeing pit lane again today. That's big news.
Well, that's an amazing. This caution has been 14 laps so far, and it's, of course, our third caution, a total of 26 laps behind the yellow. This one coming late like this and being so lengthy puts people in the fuel window.
Without a doubt, and we've talked all season about the consumption numbers of this diesel, and if he can just backpedal it a little bit and bring those numbers even higher, who knows? I mean, this could be the call of the race.
It could be, and I kind of wonder also right now about what kind of tire compounds people are doing, because it's going to get cold outside pretty quickly, the sun dropping.
Well, and once it gets behind the hills here, that angle on the track goes way down. Brian Willman having another moment under a caution as he's trying to catch the back of the field. And
got caught out. Now, that could be the sun I'm talking about. That's going down into turn 1, and the sun is right in your eyes as you go there. He might not have been able to see the back of that Panos, and in any event, he probably just flat spotted his tires.
Absolutely. It's going to make it interesting. There is that sun, and you hit that a couple of spots, Rob.
Yeah, you definitely do. And it's smack in your eyes. And it's a crystal clear day and has been all weekend here at Laguna Seca, so it doesn't make it any nicer when you're looking into the sunlight. You see McNish's got a piece of white tape on his helmet to help him with that shading of the sun.
And we're looking for the restart. Here we go, and we are green. And a big move there. Johnny Mollum trying to jump underneath Bernard, and he doesn't. But the question was, that was the pass for the overall lead. The question is a penalty? Mollum, we're still waiting to hear.
Well, Mollum got a great jump, and then he got out of the throttle because he thought it might have been too soon. Then he got back in the throttle, and he took advantage, I think, of the fact that they're looking into the sun. He took advantage of and preyed on that opportunity.
But you know what? The team said that at Petit, the first time Johnny's run this car, that he had the fastest outlap of anybody that whole weekend. So he has no qualms about jumping on the throttle.
Well, you have to have a lot of bravery and confidence in your equipment to do that outlap at 10/10ths.
And you wonder here, well, we understand some issues for the 31 car, and I'm wondering if Mollum didn't attack like that because they have to make that stop, get a little lead built up. I mean, anything helps at this stage.
Boy, trouble for the 31. Now, if there's something wrong with that car, it is definitely Brian Till's fault for saying it was too early for us to be saying it was too early.
That's right.
Oh, it's spin. Somebody's off here in turn 6. Back into the wall, it looked like, Greg. It's the BMW. Now, he did not hit the wall. It's the 22. You see the goodbye on the windshield. And he might be, that's Justin Marks. He's been off 3 times big this weekend already.
Yeah, it's been a tough weekend for Justin and everything. And I also think I saw that Dyson got underneath Bila and picked a spot up as well in the corkscrew.
I think he can get that out of there.
Trying to just gather it up here and get out.
Well, he's so far over by the wall, I think there's enough grip there possibly he can get going again without getting another full course caution.
But is there a lane for him to be able to drive through to get back to the track? That's maybe his problem right now. And it's kind of like a hockey game here. The penalty box is filling up. This is
15.
The 15 is in, and it's a hold.
Oh, boy. How about this?
Well, I wonder if that's why Mollum didn't just rock it away like that to try and get anything he could in hand.
Of course, it's the 31 potential championship man, York Bergmeister car.
Now, let's go back.
Patrick Long is driving.
Exactly. Well, you can see some damage at the back of that car. Right there in the left side. See it happen.
Take a look down here in turn 2. That's where we circled at the map at the beginning as a congestion area. It always seems to... Yeah, that's congestion. I think he got a little help.
Next car through the frame was a red Ferrari.
I think possibly. Let's listen. Yep, that's all. 62 Ferrari definitely made contact with Patrick.
Well, Ortelli, that gives him the lead. Now, assuming that we're getting some, the consistent calls are going to be made here, you would think Ortelli and that red Ferrari would be visiting the penalty box. We shall see. Bergmeister gathered it up quickly, but it definitely cost him as Mollum drives away. But boy, was that a long...
That was a long... Johnny Mollum getting called to the principal's office for a long time, and they need to get him out of there and get room for the Ferrari.
And the frustrating thing for Mollum was he went in the car when the incident happened to him.
Well, yeah. Now, L.A. Forbes Robinson did that to me in Ohio once, driving Dyson's car. I had to pay for his penalty, but we wanted to use that.
That's good. Well, maybe that's a good omen here for the Zytek as Mollum is back and underway. Meanwhile, the goings-on in GT1, and as close as it has been on board with Gavin, and right in front of him is the 007 of Tomas Enga. And again, Enga, the only driver with an outside mathematical shot at the Drivers' Championship. But the best way for them to do that is to win, and he's doing everything he can right now, but Gavin is right there.
GT1 battle, I really think it's going to get hot and contested when we get down to that last half hour. These cars have put on a show for 2 years of being nose to tail at the finish line. Look at this traffic.
The Alex Joe Porsche moves over, everybody out of the way, but boy, did Enga took huge advantage of that as he put 2 cars between himself now and Gavin.
Now you see the sun. Watch as you come around this corner. It gets right smack in your eyes right there. You can't see the brake zone for down turn 9 here, which is quite fast. Then you're 10, you're good again. You can get down to 10, get your brakes on. But as soon as you turn to the left, it's back in your face, like it is right now in my booth.
And onto the front straight we go, riding on board. And we get a report. We have another full course caution because the 22 of Marks, again, he's through the gravel and on a lane where he could try and drive out, but I think he's surrounded by a sea of gravel, and he's in a little island there, and has looked at every possible way to get out and can't do it. Oh, okay, so he was able to limp along. So
out.
something happened, I guess, to the car maybe mechanically, because he's just now stopped.
Well, something happened when he got out of the gravel trap down there where he was off, but he hasn't made it much further than that, so they're going to have to bring a caution to him. Justin Marks had a great run last week. Rusty Wallace's new track in ARCA got a third-place finish, trying to make a transition into oval-type racing.
But
not a good day today.
Tough day right now for young Justin Marks, but we are back under another caution here as we take a look at our 4 class leaders. Chris Dyson leading in P1. Jean Richard is the official timekeeper of the American Le Mans Series. And by a look at that clock, it's telling us just about an hour and 15 minutes to go. Just a little bit shy of that at this point, and the number 31 is in. Brian.
Patrick Long will get out. Jörg Bergmeister, the championship, it is now in his hands. He should be able to go the distance. I checked with tires. They will stay with the medium compound. I talked to the Michelin tire engineer, and he said, not with Jörg. We can't go soft. He's too much of an animal in this car. So he will take the Porsche back out on track and try to win his second GT2 championship in the American Le Mans Series. We saw Patrick Long with a problem a little earlier. A lot of damage to the bumper on the left rear of the car. So obviously he had contact with somebody, or should I say somebody had contact with him. Bergmeister is away. Big smoky burnout.
And there's the penalty. Ortelli. Well, it's on the caution, Dorsey, so I don't think they can.
That's true. It is on the caution.
So that'll be just a straight up pit stop at this point. The 31 goes into the lead. The 62 is a stop. But I still would think we'd see a penalty from the 62 after drilling the 31 long at the time like that. Bergmeister down behind the wheel as he brings it back out on track.
What a story.
And for Jörg, tell you what a year he's having regardless. A new daughter, Luciana Marie. And for Jörg, his wife Danielle is a native Californian. And she, of course, as the racing in California, decided to come and visit with the family.
Well, it feels nice because I know that when we're here, it does take a little pressure off him because we can do a lot of things for him that he would otherwise have to do for himself. But I also know that that he's also excited when he can just be here, just taking care of him in the racing too. So it's nice to have both, and it's nice to have the option to come out here when we can.
What an absolute cutie. And you're just smiling bigger than usual here.
Yeah.
He loves his racing, but I think having the family here is very, very special.
That'll cost him.
Little daughter? Little daughter?
Yeah, that'll cost him.
Boy, you and I know that.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely. And he is on. Bergmeister is in the car. Patrick Long just got out, right?
Said the championship was in Jörg's hands, but the guy that has helped bring it to him is Patrick Long. I know you're not going to share it with him. But how special is it to help your very good friend with another championship, potentially?
Well, there's still a long way to go, but it'll be pretty awesome if we get there. I'm just trying to go out there and run hard for this 31 team. They worked so hard during the week, but fortunately the restart on that last stint, I just got nailed by that Ferrari. So I think I take back everything good I said about Stefan Ortelli in the past, because that was a bit of a rookie move.
Well, not happy down here, but certainly will be happy if they share the championship. Cal.
Well, the #1 car trying to recover here is Emanuele Pirro going to take the car to the finish. This will put them in their fuel window. About an hour and 15 minutes left in this event. They have now gone to a slightly softer Michelin tire as the track conditions start to cool down. They're on the charge. With this caution, though, Alan McNish gets ever closer to getting to the end here without needing another stop for fuel. So things really starting to come Audi's way once again.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Calvin, that this caution was huge for McNish. Certainly now for the other Audi as well, but for McNish, who was really on the edge, this is big.
And McNish also on soft tires, and that means he is now willing, and both Audis willing and ready to race at the fastest pace. So we'll probably see them run all day with soft compound.
Yep, track cooling off, everything going right. Lucas Luhr continues to lead P2, but now overall with Dyson leading in P1 and Enge in GT1 and Bergmeister in GT2. Speed on Demand puts the power in your hands because some things are worth living over and over again. So never miss your show. Just go to speedtv.com and get Speed on Demand. People that travel a lot, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Like us.
Exactly. Miss a whole lot of stuff. And just to give you an update here, we're hoping we're going to be going green fairly soon. During this caution, both of the Corvettes, both of the CompuWare vets have pitted, which puts the Aston Martins 1-2 in GT1 right now. The issue is are they going to be able to get to the end? And we'll have to keep an eye on that, obviously. But we've got the battle, certainly for the driver's title. Again, if Beretta and Gavin simply get to that 70% mark, which we're getting very close to, they clinch. That's a no-brainer, and then they can just go and start seriously racing if they haven't been already. But there is still the team championship and the manufacturer championship, and actually, Dorsey, there's the possibility of a tie that could unfold right there. So we'll be trying to keep you updated on that. Meanwhile, let's get down to Cal.
Here with Ollie Gavin. Ollie, we're getting very close to that 70% mark, which will give you that Drivers' Championship. But I know Doug Feehan up here on the wall wants that manufacturer deal as well. What do you guys got for the Aston Martins the rest of the way?
Well, I think it's really, really close. I mean, it's been a great race the whole way. It seems that right at the start of a stint, they're really good. And we're just hanging with them, just maybe a bit back. But then as the tyre wear and as the stint goes on, we can maybe just get a bit of an advantage on them. We seem to be quite good just on restarts. But, you know, it's anybody's guess at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on with strategy, with fuel, and wondering whether they can go to the end with their fuel, whether we can go to the end with ours. And so it's a little bit in the balance at the moment. It can swing any one of four ways at the moment on who's going to win this, but it's going to be a nail-biter to the end.
With these conditions, this last hour of the race, things start to cool down a little bit. How has the balance been going at that stage of the day for you guys?
It's not been too bad. I mean, usually as it gets cooler, it gets a little bit looser, which is not a bad thing for us. I mean, we have got quite a big push mid-corner, especially when you're up behind other cars. So that might help just free it up a little bit. So I think that hopefully it'll play into our hands, but we always know that the Astons go very, very quick, and as it cools down, they always have done at Le Mans, at Sebring, at Petit Le Mans. So we're expecting, you know, tough stuff from them. But you know, the Corvette, the C6R, is performing fantastically today, and you know, I'm positive of a great result here. Another manufacturers championship, and hopefully a drivers championship for me and Olivier.
A little bit of a scare early on. Olivier had that contact. There was some bodywork damage. Any consequences from that? How did the car feel?
No, I don't think there's any consequences from that. I'm not entirely sure what Mika Salo was thinking of. I mean, he's a bit of a nut job sometimes, Mika. Maybe he still thinks he's in Formula One. I don't know.
Best of luck, mate.
Thanks.
All right, in the field coming around, looking for the green. You heard the radio call, green, green, green. And look at Dyson with McNish. Boy, they are in a shoving match, Dorsey, as they come by start-finish. Dyson trying to hang on around the outside. McNish inside. They did a little grinding, and coming up behind him is Nicholas Manassia, now back behind the wheel of the creation. And this caution might be magic for that car. It's still on the lead lap. We know it's speed. And right there, Manassia trying to get underneath Dyson. Chris just shut the door. Manassia looking again, and not far behind them. And here is the 62. So this car in. Salo is behind the wheel now. They did a driver change, so he too is paying the penalty right now. Look at this cut and thrust action as the 15 of Molam is coming up through the pack trying to get a lap back.
Amazing. Some of these corners, remember, now totally blind to the driver's perspective due to the sun in their face, particularly down there in turn one. And a pass for the lead.
Nicely done by McNish, wasting no time, drove by Lucas Luhr, and back in the overall lead once again. If they end up in that position, they're going to have an amazing, perfect season. Watch the move here, Dorsey.
Remember, McNish on soft compound tires. He's on qualifying type rubber right now, and just rockets by. I think this has been an Audi strategy. Both cars are on soft now. I think you're going to see those Audi T10s coming right toward the front.
Great grip, and coming in off with a soft tire much quicker, and that's where you jump, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And if this was strategy, if they can make these soft tires work.
Now watch this. Now as Molam gets underneath Dyson. Remember, Johnny Molam is down a lap because of that long stop and hold for the pit infraction. Manassia now, this is the actual battle right here for third overall. And in P1 with Dyson being hounded by Manassia right now.
Of course, the 15 car has been the fastest car of the weekend, pretty consistently, actually.
What it needs to do is get around, be able to run down McNish, and then get a caution. That's exactly what everybody else does not want to have happen. And right now, Dyson has actually opened it up just a little bit over Manassia right now, and we get a report that the 21 BMW is going to get an infraction and a penalty for working in the car while the pits are closed. You can come into the pits when they're closed and then sit. And then when they officially open the pits, then you can start work, but you can't do the work and drive out. And that's what these guys have done a couple of times, and it'll cost them dearly.
And of course, the only reason you would ever do such a thing is that you were not going to make another lap on fuel. So you would come in, not fuel, just sit there, shut it off, and wait for the pits to open and do your work. Otherwise, it's not smart to do no matter which way it works at the back car.
Yeah, it's just, if you can avoid that, that's a good thing for sure. Now, Manassian trying to once again get underneath Dyson, who's making that Lola very, very wide with that creation in his mirrors. And of course, with those lights coming on now, you can already start to see a little bit of that bouncing you were talking about.
Yeah, you'll really see when they repaved this place. For some reason, the paver, the machinery, for some reason, took and made bumps where there were bumps before. And it's mostly on the entries to corners, Greg, which is where it really upsets the car the most. But as I said, they're going to rip all this asphalt off of here and redo it again before the end of next season.
Just watching Manassian trying to figure out a way by Dyson. And looks like there's something that's a little broken in the diffuser of the creation. I'm not surprised with the number of offs Premont had. And you can see a little piece in the back every once in a while. I don't know that it's horribly disadvantageous, but certainly right now this caution was huge because with all of the incidents for Premont in that car, the caution allowed him to stay on the lead lap. And Manassian now trying to do everything he can to get into third and get around Dyson. And Chris Dyson doing a fabulous job right now of hanging on.
No doubt, but you have to wonder if there was something hurt with the car. It had offs about 3 different times with Premont behind the wheel. In fact, had not the caution come out, if I was a team manager, I would have been pulling the car pretty quickly for a driver change.
Oh boy, but look at that drive right there by Manassian. Dyson went to defend, and Manassian actually backed off and got a much better run out of 11. And as Dyson went to the inside, Manassian popped outside and drove right by him. And now we'll see if he is able to leave the Lola fairly quickly.
I think he will, actually.
So too.
You sometimes have to back away from the car in front of you to get a run at it, because as long as you're just right behind it, you're running the same relative speed as the car you're trying to pass, and there's no way to get that run on him.
And Manassian is awfully talented and certainly is at one with this creation and is very, very quick as he's now rocketing up the hill and has taken that third spot away. Meanwhile, here is the 21 in for its penalty. Joey Hand behind the wheel at this stage, and he's coming in and going right to that very busy penalty box.
Wow, this thing's seen way too much action here in the penalty box today.
Well, these are the issues. When you do the pit infraction where you come in when the pits are closed, it's a 1 minute 15 second. Then again, you have to include the time driving into the pits under the limit and leaving. And that is what put the number 15 Zytek down that lap that Mullen is working so hard right now.
Rick Nash just turned the lap up 1 minute and 15 seconds. So what's that then? You go a lap down.
Exactly. That's huge. Lure second overall, leading in P2. Manassian is now third overall and second in P1. There's a good one at Lucas Lure in the VHL Global Mail Porsche. And this is the scenario that they wanted, because right now, if Lure should have ended like this, if Lure can hang on and win it, with Bernhard second in class, that means Lure and Maassen would tie for the Drivers' Championship and be co-champions, and that is exactly how they wanted it to unfold. This is what it looked like coming in, with Maassen up by 4 over Lure, and then Field and Halliday obviously 11 behind Lure, and they're not really in the hunt at this stage with the problems they've had. But because of the bonus points paid here in the point swing, if Lure beats the other car, they would end up tied at the end of it, and between those two drivers, that's really what they wanted to happen, because they started the season together with the first 6 races.
We're in a really tricky part of the race right now, Greg, as you see these cars going back and forth in and out of these shadows into the light. Now, this is the 16, Emmanuel Pirro on the soft tires running down Chris Dyson. I said that I think that the Audis are going to come toward the front, where that in fact is happening. You have McNish leading, and Pirro now is fighting for 4th place, and I think he will get that position shortly.
Well, here's a good indication that Pirro's last lap is 16.7, Dyson's at 18.5, and they really at this stage aren't in a lot of traffic as of yet, so that's just flat out racing. And here comes Pirro, looks to the inside, Dyson says no.
And again, out of the shadow into the light. The worst place is really going into turn 10, and to some degree turn 1, but I think the mountain's hidden the block the sun in turn 1.
See, I just checked in with the Michelin tire engineer that is engineering for Dyson Racing. The
air temperature down here is about 10 degrees cooler than it was at the beginning of the race. The track temperature is some 20 degrees plus cooler. And in spite of that, Dyson's still on the medium compound tires. Those Audis on those soft ones, they're going to have the advantage.
It certainly looks that way, Brian. We're riding on board with Pirro, and his car is quicker. He has not been able to get around Chris Dyson yet in the 16. However, it won't be long, I can tell you that. Here he runs to the inside. He will take the position going into the corkscrew. Oh, but Dyson muscles him and gets pushed off the racetrack. Now, for Chris, he should have just let that be, because it was evident that it was, there's no need wrecking the two cars. But Dyson really playing hardball right there, tried to pinch Pirro down. Pirro had none of it and just pushed him right on off the top of the corkscrew.
Again, to quote Calvin, argy bargy.
Little argy bargy, Calvin, going on out there, buddy. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, now that's what I would have figured. Now watch Pirro. I think now that he's clear of Dyson, that car will start running some fantastic numbers. You look at what's going on. McNish is the second quickest car. Here we go, up into the brake zone. Pirro to the inside, has the pass perfectly, but Dyson pinches him down. Now Pirro says, no, you want to do that? I'll just run you out here into the grass. Only there's no grass here in California. It all burnt up already.
Wow, that was a pretty aggressive piece of driving by Pirro. I wonder if he was a little frustrated, because Chris was certainly aggressive in his defense.
Well, no more so than
not just in that corner.
I mean,
on the previous lap.
But in the interim part, that was definitely a payback. He says, "You're gonna pinch me, well, watch this. I'll just run you off the race."
So the Audi's certainly on the move. McNish leads it overall and out front, and Pirro has just taken over third in P1, fourth overall at this stage. And they are on the charge, and there's a good look at McNish running out front right now. The new look of AmericanLeMans.com features live timing and scoring and flag-to-flag radio coverage. All the information you need to follow world-class sports car racing. That's www.AmericanLeMans.com. Log on today. And as McNish works his way through traffic, here are your four class leaders. McNish back in the front and overall. Welcome back, everybody, into our final hour of this 4-hour Monterey Sports Car Championship. You're watching Alan McNish and that beautiful Audi working his way up through the GT1 battle right now. This is the third and fourth, the two Corvettes in GT1. McNish absolutely flying. Has just turned the lap at 1:15.0, 1:15 flat, and he's hooked up beautifully right now. And we said that a bit earlier, Dorsey, that with that penalty that he got, it was just going to light the fuse on this guy. And now with the soft tires and the strategy and that caution, so the fuel is good for him. Oh boy.
You look at the extra piece of tape he's put on his visor over his helmet, and there's just this little peepee little area where you can look through. Of course, the sun is blinding right now. Instead of going with a dark mask, because it's going to get dark very shortly, he's got the clear shield on, but he's got it taped down so small that he can tilt his head forward and block that sun.
Well, it is absolutely blinding at this stage of the day, without doubt, but so is his pace right now. He is running so fast. He was about a second quicker than Luhr. Now, here's the number 51 Panos, Gunnar Jeanette behind the wheel right now, running fourth in the GT2 category. And as I said, at Petit, they had their best weekend as a team this season. Yes, the 50 car won Sebring, but this car struggled badly there. Last race at Petit, they went third and fourth. And these guys, it was their second consecutive fourth place, and they're fourth once again. So the Gunnar Jeanette-Milner pairing has really started to come on late in the season. I think they've come to grips with the car, and that car's really starting to work.
Well, there's some ongoing development that's been happening with that business, and it's certainly, they've improved the back of the car, the geometry of the back, and certainly they've completely been able to captivate the back. The back of the car was only a problem moving around and losing grip. Much better.
And in a straight line, that V8 inside there certainly makes enough power.
Well, it's got a big old Ford V8 and it's got power. You got to be able to do something with the power, which was the problem at the beginning of the year. They couldn't use what they had, now they can.
And these two guys have been driving it absolutely beautifully. The number 45 is the Porsche that is coming up alongside. That car is now, as we know, with that problem, well down the order. Here's the number 8. This is the Mazda. Remember, at Lime Rock had that huge accident and a virtual rebuild on the car. Its first appearance back was at Petit, and now they're back right now, and they just continue to keep trying to develop this car. And I mean, that rebuild was huge. It set them back so much.
I was surprised they even messed with rebuilding it, other than they want to do some more engine development, because next year they have a new chassis and a new engine complete package that they're going to attack the American Le Mans Series with. And I dare I say, I'm sure it will be a better put together situation than this car has been for them.
Oh, without a doubt. But on the other side of things, Mazda, this road track car, Mazda itself, with its involvement these days, certainly as the title sponsor of this track, title sponsor of the Tequila Patron, their involvement from grassroots and autocrossing. They help racers all the way up through the pro ranks. The last thing Mazda wanted to do was not be on the track.
I'm pretty sure they can finance this racing effort here in American Le Mans with just a spec
There's the entries for that. Absolutely. Jamie Bach behind the wheel right now. Guy Cosmo, the other driver in this car. And I'll tell you what, these guys have never given up the spirit, even though they haven't necessarily always had the pace. They have really plugged away at it. It's great to see them back in the paddock. They've also had Ellie Force Robinson running with them and with some experience to help sort the car a bit.
Mazda has a display down in there, and it's a tent down below with a bunch of past Mazda champions. It gives me the shivers every time I go by it, because I had to race against those things.
It's a pretty thing, as is this. This is the number 76 Brooklotti Radical Racing Radical. Currently, Michael Verger is the gentleman behind the wheel, who, by the way, just recently clinched the P2 championship in LMS, the Le Mans Series, which is the European variant of Le Mans racing, and he has been brought over here. He's been with Radical as a test and development driver for a long time, but raced the Courage this year, so didn't do a lot of any really of the development work on this car. But they brought him in. He knows Laguna, and he certainly knows how to drive anything he gets behind the wheel of incredibly well. And he's really been a great addition to this team. One of the reasons helping Stuart Mosley, who's very talented as well, just learned this track. And what a great name, Brooklotti. Great racing. I'm not going there. We're not going there. It's a class act and a really good program. And Tim Greaves is also does some driving, but he's the owner. And he's sort of like the guy that I liked it so much I bought it. He has bought the Brooklotti company as well, and just really involved in it. Stepped aside for this race to put these two very quick pros in the car, and again, just sort of show off what Radical can do. They've had some problems in the race, but were big quick during practice and qualifying. And right now, what we want to do is do something that we just love to do here at Speed, and it's called the Sounds of Speed. We're going to hop on board with one of the prettiest sounding cars on the track, the 007 Aston Martin in the hands of Tomas Engel. Session and watched, one of the Aston Martins or something go by with that scream. I was pretty close to the track, and I turned, and this Audi was on top of me, and I never heard it. It was just a jump almost.
Now the no sound thing does nothing for me, but I tell you what does: the thunder of an American V8. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, the number 4 Corvette. Now enjoy this one. board with the Porsche number 7, and this is a V8 as well with a whole different sound.
This is a good sound. We saw telemetry last week. 11,500 horsepower it was right there.
And he is coming after McNish. That's McNish, and this is for position. McNish is suddenly slowing up just a little bit. Lure's last lap was about half a second quicker than McNish's, and this gap is going away.
Yeah, McNish not there. Look at their RPMs on the Porsche. Between 9, here's 11, here's 11.5.
Checked it with Brad Kettler. McNish does have the same fuel. They've gone to a different map there, so he may be just trying to stretch that fuel to the finish. We're pretty sure that the 7 car will need to do another pit stop to see the checkered flag here tonight, so maybe just a bit of a difference in how much power is being used right now.
Fuel mileage strategy, that's a good point there, Calvin. This diesel, of course, by turning down the RPM or going to a different map on the computer, can lean itself to the point of getting a lot better mileage. And look at that blinding sun. I mean, you can't see a thing.
You can't see the car in front of you.
No, and that's a good redirect, actually.
Yeah, I would think. Well, and so Lure, if he knows he has to stop, he's just trying to do everything he can to try and get around. And the 37 is in, and that is Clint Field, who is now up behind the wheel and is bringing that car out, sitting 3rd in the P2 category right now. And
of course, Halliday had a big crash in that. They didn't even get to qualify, so they started last today.
Doing a nice job hauling that car up into the top 3. Meanwhile, let's go back on board. Oh, the 007.
That front tire is gone. 007. Aston will have to limp to the pits now. That's going up to the, whatever you call it.
Corkscrew.
Yeah.
Okay, one's off fuel. One's off fuel, yeah.
Huge for the Corvettes.
Well, here's the deal. Had the Aston Martins finished 1-2 and then either of the Corvettes finished 3rd, it would have been a tie in the team and manufacturer championships. There are no bonus points, so they would have been co-champions. But the Astons had to finish 1-2 to take second points away from the Corvettes, and this is going to just absolutely spoil that hope.
Lucky here that the tire didn't shred the whole front of the car apart. It stayed with the wheel, and then we get to pit lane.
And he's in. Yeah, he's in, and a good thing for him. It was a first stall, Cal.
He's in. He's got a front left tire has gone down, so that was the problem there. But we understand from Doug Behan at Corvette that this car would have needed to pit anyway for fuel, so they're going to have to try and do something magical here to try and get this car back toward the front of this GT1 field to try and get that Aston Martin in a position where they can tie Corvette for the manufacturer championship. To do that, they need a 1-2. Thomas Enger is really going to have to hand it out.
That was more than likely due to the puncture. There's a lot of debris. Greg, we've been talking about the whole time. In fact, the curbs here for motorcycles. Cars can run across the curbs. It doesn't upset the car. It brings all this dirt, debris. We've had a bunch of crashes today. Of course, there's shards of fiberglass and carbon fiber. Here are the Corvettes going by the stricken Aston Martin.
He knew it. He moved over. And obviously didn't affect what was going on here. So that's the change. So O'Connell now, the number 3 Corvette, moves to 2nd, and Olivier Beretta goes to 3rd. Beretta and Gavin had pretty much already clinched the championship. But Brian, what a huge thing for team and manufacturer.
Yeah, Doug Behan was up here, just turned around and walked away. Doug, I know the driving championship would be good for the 2 Ollies, but it's really the manufacturer's championship that you want. The complexion of this race just changed. What's it mean to you guys and your strategy?
Well, quite frankly, we backfilled our strategy all day long to get it to this point, so we know we can run right down to the end. And our objective is to finish 1-2, and that ensures the manufacturer's championship. Obviously, manufacturers is key, but we're not going to settle for second place.
You guys good on fuel to the end, or you need one more stop?
We're good on fuel and tires to the end of this race.
Corvette's going to the checkered flag, guys.
And if they do it, if they win it, it'll be their 6th straight manufacturer's title. That, of course, is a remarkable achievement.
And, of course, it's due very much to the man you look at on the left.
Oh, yeah.
Doug Behan spearheaded this team for so many years.
He is one of those leaders that these guys just follow. And one of the reasons is he gets them results, and that is everything. So the chase for the Aston Martin now begins. McNish is hanging on out front. Speeds coverage coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Porsche. Porsche, there is no substitute. We are into our last 40 minutes here of this Monterey Sports Car Championship, the season finale of the American Le Mans Series at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, and there has been a lot of action unfolding. Here is Alan McNish, and you'll notice that not in his rearview mirrors and not even in the shot right now is the number 7 Porsche Lucas Ford, who is giving Alan a bit of a fit here. You hop on board with Ford, and he is well back right now. Yes, he's just now working up through the turn 4th now. Exiting 4 and heading toward 5. As McNish up in the corkscrew.
Wow, this is why that happened. As Lucas will get a chance for the overall lead. Comes down here to the slowest corner on the track. Coming up the front straightaway, too much speed, and just does an unforced error spin.
Yeah, and the lap earlier in that lap, he ran way wide at 5.
Now he's lucky right here he doesn't roll himself into the trap and get stuck, but he's still rolling as you see. And now he's backing onto the racetrack, and look at this, almost makes contact.
Yeah, Jamie Bach and the Mazda getting around him. Here comes Mullen, here comes Manassian, and that is the change for second overall.
That's highly embarrassing because that's right in front of the boss, Roger Penske, who's sitting there on pit lane, so you can't make any excuses and say anything happened that didn't.
Now he still holds on to the lead in P2 and in fact remains third overall. But with Manassian getting better overall position. Meanwhile, here's the 007 of Tomas Enga, the car that had that problem, as McNish is coming up to put him another lap in arrears in terms of the overall battle. But Enga had the tire problem, and there are the Corvettes chasing the 009 Aston Martin of Saracen. So it's Aston Martin leading in GT1, O'Connell and Beretta. They have caught Saracen at this point. Now the question is whether Saracen has left anything in reserve. Ooh, a big wiggle by O'Connell right there.
Yeah,
careful.
Danny Biggs saw that on TV. Said, careful now. They've been told to run 3 to 4 car lengths apart. So.
Well, I figure Beretta, if he wiggles like that, I can close it up at least a little bit at this point. So, and of course, as we talked about, the minute Enga brought the 007 in, a lot of things changed. We talked to Doug Fian, Calvin Scott, and his counterpart at Aston Martin.
Here with team principal George Howard Chapel. George, things certainly changed there with a puncher for Thomas. How are things the rest of the way? How's Saracen looking on fuel?
Saracen's looking okay on fuel, but not on pace. You know, the 50 kilos we got after Petit, it's really killing us here. You know, it's supposed to be balanced, but clearly it's not.
It's been a tremendous season, George. I mean, the battle today is going to go down to the wire, but it looks like the war may have gone Corvette's way in terms of the manufacturers. Are we going to see you back next season?
Next season is not clear. When we know what the rules are, we'll make our decisions. But yeah, it's been a good battle. You know, winning 4 races for Aston Martin, fantastic, really.
What about the Corvettes? They're going to be pretty tight on fuel as well, I would think.
I'm not sure. I think they could probably make it as well, looking at the previous stints.
Yeah, well, they're certainly going to keep their fingers crossed here. Long way to go yet, boys.
I think what he was saying, Calvin, is if they write the rules so the Aston wins every single race, they might come back. Well, come on. It's been a good race for 2 of these guys throughout the year, from all the way on in this competitive series. The Corvettes certainly, they are good some places, and so are the Astons. It's great to have them here. But,
well, take a look at the poles record, and Aston Martin has far more poles, so the speed is there, it's unquestioned. And this is the first race that they've been finally running at equal weights. The vets have been handicapping weight all season long. This is the race that they're equal.
I should point out that the Astons led the entire day, up until just right here at the end. Of course, there's more than this, the issue of two manufacturers.
Oh, absolutely.
There's tire issues, you know, one's on Pirelli, one's on Michelin, there's softer compound. It's all different. I mean, it's a good race.
Strategy, I mean, everything plays into the key here.
Yeah, it could happen to these 2 Corvettes, believe me, it can. There's a lot of debris out there, like I said before. Anybody is prone to a puncture, can't go wrong.
Right now, that's Johnny Mola in the Zytek, 3rd car in the frame, the first prototype, trying to just work through and get a lap back. And right behind him, I think, is Manassian. So Manassian wants to be a bit careful here as he works through this battle in GT1, as he's trying to wind his way up and try and do something with Alan McNish up front. There's Manassian, 2nd overall in the creation, but he's bottled up in this GT1 battle at this stage. Right now, and underneath he goes. He clears them. So he is on the way. Here are your 4 class leaders, and McNish, a little bit of breathing room. Sports Car Championships at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. 1.5 hour remaining in the 2006 American Le Mans Series season. And we have some great racing unfolding right now. You just saw the 3 cars running 1, 2, 3 in GT1. The Aston Martin of Stefan Sarrazin. Then the 2 Corvettes, Johnny O'Connell and Olivier Beretta. And to revisit our Pirelli storylines, the big key was 70%, Dorsey. And it has certainly affected a couple of scenarios here.
Well, for Gavin and Beretta, they are the champions. They win their Drivers' Championship, no question about it. And the Penske Porsches have also, one of the 2 of those drivers are going to win the championship for sure. They've eliminated Halliday and Field out of the 37 car.
And that was just a factor of getting to that 70% mark. If you don't get to 70, even if you end up classified 3rd class, you get no points. And that's the key right there. So you hit 70%, then it becomes a straight up battle in terms of points, and that's where we sit right now. The question at this stage is, obviously, if Lure in the 7 car can finish in front of Bernhardt in the 6 car, that if we do a driver changes anymore, that would mean Lure and Massa would be co-champions, which is something actually that Massa said he'd give up the win here to be co-champions. I don't know if he feels about that necessarily.
But I think that will happen if we do. In the meantime, Johnny O'Connell, number 3 Corvette, who has been the last 2 races at Petit Le Mans here, really showing his stuff. I don't know if his contract's due or what, but he's really become really quick, and he's putting a lot of pressure on Sarrazin, trying to take a look at the inside right now. Watch the Corvette as he brakes. He's dumping huge amounts of carbon fiber dust out, which means he's fully on the brakes coming in these corners. See it right
there? Yeah, you bet. Certainly that team is watching that Corvette with great interest, as is Gavin. You saw him sitting there watching, teammate to the guy right behind Johnny there, Beretta.
Flashing the headlights, flashing the exhaust pipes. Get out of my way.
Sarrazin, I don't know how rattleable, if that's a word, he is.
Oh, it's about to find out. Johnny's got the bit between his teeth.
This is where Johnny had that big wiggle just a little while ago. You heard Danny Banks say, calm down. And Johnny is done right there.
Calm down. He says, calm down. You calm down. I'm going to line.
There's Danny and Ron Fellows. They're looking at what's unfolding here.
Johnny really has done a great job the last 2 races as far as his driving. He's out-qualified the other car. The last 2, inside, they're not the big stick. He's just, right now, just letting the presence be known. He wasn't alongside enough to make that pass for real.
More traffic up there. There's more traffic.
It's Danny Banks. Danny Banks, who we worked with last week at the amateur runoffs for the SCCA, did a good job.
Yes, he sure did. He's good behind the mic as well as he is behind the radio mic for his team and calling the shots for that number 3 car as they work through traffic. And just to confirm, just did a little look here at the point scenario. If they finish the way they do right here for the Manufacturers and Teams Championship in GT1, if they finish like this, Chevrolet would have 189 points, Aston Martin 186. So Chevy gets that 6th straight championship, and Corvette Racing does as well as the team. So pretty remarkable, really. But Aston Martin sure is giving them a great fight.
Corvette can't pass its own. Either car can't race each other. All they've said to them is keep 4 cars apart.
Brian?
Johnny Mollum brings his Zytec in. They'll just take fuel only, just enough so they can get to the end. What a job Mollum has done in adjusting to this prototype car. He ran so well at Petit Le Mans, running well here. Be great to see them back next year. Zytec would like to come and run the complete American Le Mans Series. Just depends on funding. Imagine that, Dorsey. Depends on funding. It'd be great to see them back together.
Oh, look at this. Is O'Connell around the outside of Sarrazin down the front straight. Now Sarrazin going to try to come right back down the inside. He's
still there. You got it.
And O'Connell.
He's in there. He's in there.
Oh, and he got out in the junk. Dorsey got a little crossed up.
Got pushed out to that gravel on the outside. The dirt on this racetrack's immense this late in the race. This race is far from over, believe me. Johnny will pay that favor back.
Oh, he will come back after him. And obviously, had there been more on the line in the sense for Beretta, I think he would have tried a little bit more to sneak underneath there. But at this stage, they've got their championship. You don't want to do something untoward and then end up involving both cars here. and that's the issue. Now, of course, with that run down that front straight into the Andretti hairpin, you know it had to start back at turn 11, and here we are. Go back and take a look at it heading into the final turn onto that pit straight.
It's out of 10, down to 11. Johnny goes to the inside. Good hard brake. He takes the apex away. Look at the carbon fiber rotors glowing on the right front. Gets the good launch, but that Aspen's got legs. It out top ends him. This is going down into turn 1, headed for 2 where it bottlenecks. Johnny pushed out into where the dirty racetrack is. And look at the crew. Ron Fellows, he's getting a kick out of it.
Oh, we wanted that one. And, you know, keep in mind now, both of these vets had braking problems. Now, of course, that's a much later race, but they said it wasn't even just a problem with the brakes. It was they tried something in their work, and they said, we won't make that mistake again. And clearly, Johnny, that car awfully good under the braking right now as we watch Sarazan.
We'll take him a few laps now to recover and get the teeth back in the tires. He got a lot of dirt on his tires when he went off that outside. He'll come back, you watch.
Without a doubt. And there's Alan McNish now building that margin a bit. And log on to AmericanLeMans.com and check out the podcasting element feature, new audio and video features, and coverage of the series. The new podcasting element offering has become very popular, and it's on AmericanLeMans.com. Well, coming up on 20 minutes remaining, when we come back, don't go anywhere, it's getting awfully good. Monday night on Speed, catch the classic used cars on the Lost Drive-In. When the owner of a struggling used car lot is killed, it's up to the lot's hotshot salesman to save the property from falling into the hands of the owner's ruthless brother and used car rival. Kurt Russell stars in Used Cars on the Lost Drive-In. Monday night, 9 Eastern on Speed. And that's about as pretty a shot as you are ever going to see, but also it's indicative, Dorsey, the temperature is dropping, the sun dropping behind the hills here.
86 degrees, currently 68, and that sun just now getting behind the mountain, which will drop that 68 degrees quickly down into the 50s.
And it affects that track huge.
Oh, no question about it. The track right now is starting to really change its complexity. You can't see it.
Well, Alan McNish is certainly driving the car extremely hard. We've seen him slide around a bit. He's definitely got to try and save fuel, but maintain lap time, so that's why he's pushing so hard. The team joked with me. They said, we're really tight on fuel. If you'd like to throw yourself on the racetrack, create a full caution period, we'll buy you a beer tonight. So that's how tight they are. They're still looking to try and squeak this one out without a splash of fuel needed at the end, guys.
Well, Calvin, we've definitely seen him pushing hard to the corners. I mean, he's really slamming his corners. Of course, because of that fuel mixture load, he's not making the power that everybody else is.
So you're saying he's trying to carry everything into and through the corners, and that's why he's looking a little squirrely.
Well, he's been about a second lap slower than the other cars, but not that lap. He just cranked off a 17:30, which puts him the quickest car on the racetrack.
Not too shabby, absolutely. You saw the smile from Dindo Capello. Of course, they already clinched the Drivers' Championship, but if they hold on for this win, not only do they give the R10 TDI Diesel a perfect season in its debut year as the 16. I'll get back to that in a moment. Brian?
Chris Dyson brings the number 16 in for its final stop of the day and final stop of 2006. Fuel only, obviously, it'll be a timed stop. What a great job this team has done. After struggling with this car early in the year, they've been running strong lately, guys.
Of course, they worked also hard, Brian, to try to get the 20 car here after the big crash that Guy Smith had at Petit Le Mans. It didn't happen, but they did put a huge effort into trying to make that work.
Yeah, they just decided at the very end, they said, you know, Chris has an outside mathematical shot in the championship to focus on one car, and obviously they put in a good fight today. Been on pace at times, weren't early in the weekend, but they seem to have found it a little bit here in the race, and Dyson is back out for this team. We had that great feature earlier. This is a team that just, it's family, but boy, they do love taking it to the big guns if you can, the manufacturers having a good time. Meanwhile, in GT2, Jorg Bergmeister continues to lead, and of course looking awful good for a championship right now, but in terms of the race win, this is by no means a done deal for Jorg, because 3 seconds behind him is Mika Salo in the Ferrari as we come up now on just a little over 15 minutes remaining here. There is Bergmeister, there's the 37, there is Salo. Now this might help Jorg as Chris gets down and underneath. That's going to slow him Salo and hurt him a little bit, but nonetheless, that margin, it was some 20 seconds not that long ago. It was just shrinking a huge rate.
Well, that lap in particular, there was only 0.05 of a second between the two cars, so they turned nearly identical lap times. Salo, of course,
was held up somewhat that way on that particular racetrack by this traffic.
So this GT2 battle for the win is huge, and of course, with this Ferrari finishing well up in the order second, that's going to really ensure things, I think, for a team and manufacturers, or a team championship for Risi. Manufacturers was already clinched by Porsche, but the team championship for Risi is very much alive, and they're doing everything they can to make that happen.
Absolutely. Of course, Bergmeister's already won his championship second time in a row, and this guy's won both major championships in North American road racing this year, which I don't believe has ever been done by anyone.
Yeah, he's done an absolutely, it's a fabulous season for him without question, and he'd love to end it with a big win here, but the question is the situation here as Salo is coming on big time.
Yeah, now they got sight of one another, and we've got 17 minutes left or so. Plenty of time.
See what he's able to do now. There's no lap car. See what Salo can uncork here. He did lose about a little over half a second at last lap as Manassian. Now this is going to put paid to his shot at running down McNish, unless McNish has to stop as well. Right?
He's not going to run him down. What a great job this team has done. Nicholas Manassian in this car. Interestingly enough, they're going to take tires, it looks out like they're setting him out. And the other thing that's interesting about the tires in this car, they don't like softs, they don't like mediums, they like the hard compound. It is 68 degrees outside. That seems to be a little much, Dorsey, but they say that's what the car performs on.
Of course, a funny situation with that car is it's not running on the same rim width as everyone else is. It's got a narrower, that's what I'm saying, this rim, 2 inches at the back. And that hard compound tire might be required just because of the lack of rubber.
Keep it alive.
Yeah, just to keep it alive with the fact that the heat factor as well. 2 inches is a lot of rubber to give up.
Now that has moved Puro into second, which means a 1-2 currently for the Audis, and what a way for them to finish their debut season. And that's what I was getting at. The R10 TDI can end up with a perfect season in its debut year, 8 starts, 8 wins, but for McNish and Capello, they will break the record they set at Petit with 8 wins in a season in class. Now that's class wins, obviously, but still in all, just unbelievable.
Well, a perfect season has never been done before, and I certainly don't want to jinx Audi, but I mean, it's an engineering masterpiece, if you will.
Marvel. I mean, that's an over cliched terms of it, but it is an engineering marvel.
New car, not a new team by any means, but had to learn a new car and to come out and go undefeated against the competition that they have in the series, which is the best series in the world.
Helped out rather smartly by the R8 when it MFC bring in. I mean,
it showed up a couple times to finish its reign as the most competitive, best sports car in the world in the history of road racing.
Well, if they hang on for these last 15 minutes, the R10 TDI will be perfect on the season. That is amazing. We're going to step away one last time. When we come back, we will take you all the way to the checkered flag and the PTG team dining trackside. Does it get better? The final GT2 checkered flag of the season is truly under contest as Olaf Einstein McNish works through the battle. There is Jörg Bergmeister. Right behind him in the red Ferrari is Mika Salo. There is nothing between them except the occasional faster prototype. The war is on.
Traffic has been playing a great part, and so far Bergmeister being able to use that traffic to keep the Ferrari behind him. I don't think he can do it for much longer.
Boy, take a look at the last few laps in terms of the margins here as it's come down, and now there's nothing. And clearly Salo is quicker, but as the old adage goes, catching and passing is a different thing, and Jörg is driving brilliantly right now. And the problem for Jörg, he also has that Porsche up front. Here comes Salo, trying to straight line down the inside. He's there, but if he overshoots the corner, Bergmeister cuts down underneath. Not going to happen.
Coming to the inside, there will be no way he's got the speed of Ferrari's the faster car.
Trying to figure out a way. Boy, he's staying right with him, though, Dorsey.
He could punt him. That'd be one way.
Well, that's the one, but...
And of course, the Ferrari's been using that all during their day.
That's true. I'm not sure that's how Jörg works with that method right now. So
he doesn't need to work that method. He's won his championship. He's the hottest driver in the world. He's won everything this year.
He does, yeah. And I mean, Jörg's stock has done nothing but go up. Ironically, since Porsche let him go as a factory driver, his stock has just got through the roof.
Yeah, they cut him loose as a factory driver, and then he went and beat all the factory drivers in 2 series. So that's not the Jörg. Yeah,
And I mean, that was a smart thing. He's got the championship. And
if
he had let him go, I think eventually the Ferrari might have given him a nudge.
Yeah, he would. Salo ran him down from 3 seconds back in 2 laps. And York did a great job of using traffic and every means necessary to get him back to where he was coming.
And that performance by the Ferrari is why Alex Joe, who's car works third at GT2 right now, made a comment earlier in the week, and he said we're happy to be as fast as we are with the Porsches because that Ferrari is virtually a GT1 car. I mean, it is something. When it's hooked up, it is something.
I think it's been on pole the last 5 races. Something that's an awfully fast car, no question. It's got a great team, great drivers.
That's a fact. Less than 10 minutes to go. And right now, Alan McNish continues to lead, but fuel is a huge question. And Calvin, I'm guessing you're standing by with the guys a little nervous.
Well, he certainly is. Dindo, what a tremendous season, but I know you want to win this last one here tonight. How tight is Alan on fuel right now?
Very tight. I know it's very, very tight. We hope we can do it, but it's not easy. It looks not easy at the moment, but we believe in our TDI engine.
Seems like the team are going to want to go for it. Listening to the conversation here about what the strategy will be. From a driver's perspective, what can you do with the diesel engine to save fuel? Is there a different mapping? Can you save fuel in any way when you're driving the car, Dindo?
No, here, fortunately, where you have elevation change, like with the petrol engine, you can back off a little bit earlier, let the car roll a little bit earlier than when you are pushing, and you don't lose so much. But you know, there is no, the only chance you can get is just to back off the throttle a little bit earlier before every braking point and try to save some fuel. But you know, it's not easy, but we have to try to do it.
All right, mate, fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
RPM is the key. You know, if you're running 5,000, now you run 3, and they're not going to beat you. But I mean, it's tight. He's going by the Corvette. He splashed on by through there.
The last lap, McNish was actually a couple seconds off of Pirro. 30 seconds, a little less than 30 seconds, McNish over Pirro. Meanwhile, bit of a change here. It happened while we were in our break, and look at Beretta.
Beretta down the inside takes, well, that looked awfully planned. 3 didn't do anything. Maybe not.
I was going to say, that didn't look too planned.
Maybe not. Well, that's quite a thing, because we heard on the radio earlier, they told them to keep the cars 4 car lengths apart from one another. And that looked like a dive bomb move that you couldn't even make it through the next corner.
I mean, he didn't need to do it. They've got the championship in terms of drivers. With O'Connell, the 3-car finishing second, they get the team and manufacturers. So that was unnecessary. Yeah,
Joey Hand on the pit lane in the BMW. Milner's car with the hood up does not look good.
Well, they had
and the trunk up. Yeah, they had the door. That's everything. They got problems everywhere.
With the trunk up, is that
that would be fuel, you would say.
Type of thing.
This that's the look at all sides of the BMW. They have to turn it over to the bottom. That's all that's left.
Yeah, they're out of the top 5 in class right now. So that's a scenario. Joey just calmly waiting. Not a lot he can do at this stage.
Now engine's off. You see over there on the dash at 0. Nothing happening.
Not the way that Team PTG perhaps wanted to. Oh, and we're getting a report that maybe on the number 2 McNish Audi, they're getting a fuel light. Dorsey.
Get a piece of tape off something, cover it up.
There you go.
Because you're not stopping.
Yeah, it's like turning the mirrors down, ignore it.
They talked about coming into the pits on the cool down lap or on the
white flag
lap and getting fuel and finishing up in pit lane, and they were going to check and see if that was a legal thing to do.
Well, the margin now is down to 28 seconds, McNish over Pirro, but we are just about, well, we're 15 seconds away from the 5-minute mark.
Looks like, you know, Audi will go ahead and win their.
Well, here's the story, yeah.
No matter which one it is. Of course, this car, the 2, McNish wants to win overall this race. But if that light's on, that usually gives you, Greg, maybe 1 lap of a circuit of 2.5 miles. This is just short of 2 miles, 2.2 miles. It gives you 1 lap. Well, there's more than 1 lap left in 5 minutes.
Oh, there certainly is. McNish's last lap was a 21. Now he comes by, he's just turned 19. So he picked it up again.
And I don't know why. I mean, if you're that close. Of course, Audi's got the winning hand. It would be something catastrophic that Pirro would win. She even did falter.
Well, exactly. So it looks awfully good that the TDI is going to get that amazing 8th win in 8 starts. But remember, the key here is one of those things, talking about getting into the pit lane, taking the white flag and the checkered flag in pit lane. Remember the rule that was changed at the end of last season. You've got to take the checkers on the track to get classified as a win.
So he can't
be
come
second,
in,
third, or fourth.
He gets that white flag. He's going to have to stay out there, risking running out of fuel, and try to make it, nurse it around 2.2 miles and get it back to that start-finish line. Now remember, start-finish line is uphill.
That's right.
By the time you get to the checkered flag.
So the situation here, this is an all-or-nothing gamble for McNish and Capello in the number 2 Audi, but Audi has that extra bullet in the chamber of Pirro right there.
Yeah, there's no risk at all. I mean, like I said, Pirro's car will win if McNish does not. Manassi, who's in third, is so far back there's no way they'll catch up. The question now just becomes for McNish. Pride, can he get it to the finish line?
Well, I think they've got 7 class wins on the season, which is a record. Anyway, this would be an 8th for McNish and Capello, and that would be very sweet. But it wouldn't be a bad thing either for Pirro and Biela to end up with their 3rd win of the season either.
Well, down here at the Audi camp, the word is just slow Alan down. They're just like waving their hands, try and slow the pace down, just try and get it to the finish. And after I came off the interview with Dindo Capello, he said, yes, I can certainly save more fuel by rolling the car into the corners. Just like a gasoline-powered engine, when you just come off the gas, particularly with a diesel, it just shuts your fuel delivery down. That's where you can save fuel, and with a 20-second lead, Alan can afford to maybe do that over the last couple of laps.
Yeah, certainly short shift. Don't run as many RPM. Get onto the throttle and coast. Now, you can coast all the way down this hill. This is downhill out of the corkscrew. You can coast all the way to pit lane from there in neutral. You don't have to put any gas on because it's that steep a hill.
But as you said,
but then there's the other side of the fence, which has got to climb it back.
Climb it to get to, yeah, exactly. And we're monitoring, folks. We're going to keep our monitors on the 2 Audis. So if you hear radio chat,
yeah, I know that.
It's hard for me to say that half of the thing is downhill, but the clutch and coast. I doubt it.
Well, he came by in that lap 21.4, so he's definitely backed it off.
And 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left.
2 minutes exactly right now left in the season. So this lap. And there it is. We get official word now. White flag next time by, Norris.
Boy, and then you really worry about that hill. Once you get to turn 5, as we showed on the track map earlier, it's due uphill till you get to the crest, the butte, where you can fall off of that, the corkscrew, and coast around down.
And just so you know, in P2, Lure is in front of Barry 7 in front of 6, so that would, if that were to finish like that, be a co-championship for Lure. Mazda.
Can he make it up that hill one more time, Greg? That's the question.
Yeah, he's got to do it, this time in one more. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's made it this time.
Okay, I only want on to reserve at turn 6.
So just went to reserve in turn 6, which is where you begin to climb the hill. Now, does it have 2.2 miles left in it?
I remember his last lap, just for reference here, 21.4. He's got to be backing it way off that. And Pirro just ran a 21.2 that last time, way off the pace. I don't know if that's traffic.
Well, everybody's 21 because Manassi did a 21.7.
Yeah, here we go.
One more time. Here is the white flag.
24.6. So McNish now 3 seconds slow. Everything he can to make this look.
This he'll make easily. As he comes onto the front stretch, that's the distance between first and second. He won't catch Allen if he doesn't run out of fuel, not with that distance. But McNish has got to climb the hill one more time.
GT1, Sarah's up for the Conley. 1, 2, 3. And Chip easily.
Looks slow. That is turn 5. Uphill now, whatever he's got to clear this hill. Build speed, turn 6. Flat out hard brakes for 6.
He's really taking it easy.
If he can make it to the top of this crest, he's in. We're going to be close.
There it is. I just coast all the way down and have enough to give it the nice gains from 11 to the checkered flag. Boy, tense stuff right here, but for McNish and Capello, if they can do it, extending their record of wins in a season, class wins in a season for a pairing, and bringing with the win win Audi, the R10 TDI, that perfect record. Here we go. Last time out of 11. He's got enough. He's pumping. He's look at that. He's waving to the crew. He said, "You did it. You gave it to me. We made it happen." And there it is. He has done it. McNish and Scalo, 8th win of the season for that pairing. And we're on board here. This is Lucas Luhr once again. If he can hang on 4th overall currently, the lead in P2, and if he wins it, and we get the 6 car coming home behind them, he and Mawson, Luhr and Mawson, will share the championship, which is really unbelievable.
Out of 5 up the hill, out of 6. Now he's headed to the very top. He'll make it as well, as long as he can clear this.
And there it is. He rolls over the top of the corkscrew. He's on his way down the hill. And the 009, as I said, the Aston Martin of Saracen is coming up into turn 11, and that will give them, they win, but, oh, Dyson off right in front of them.
Well done, that secures you second in the championship. Fantastic job.
So, just a great run. Here comes Lucas Luhr.
Good job there, champ.
And you heard it, champ.
Heard it 3 times that lap.
Yeah, champ with Massa, the co-champ in different cars. That's just incredible. And look at the Alex Job giving McNish a little congratulatory headlight flash. We'll come back and visit with our winners and champions. We are back, and an absolutely glorious sunset unfolds here, and it's been an absolutely glorious race. Let's get right down to Calvin Fish with our overall winner.
Well, it was a record-breaking season for Dindo Capello, for Alan McNish. But Alan, what a close one here tonight. Talk us through the race.
Well, it was right from the start to finish. It was just action-packed. We had a tangle up at the top. When the creation moved, the side to overtake, and I'd already committed. It's one of these things, and you accept the penalty. And then after that, there was a bit of jockeying for position, but really at the end, it was about fuel economy and just trying to make it. We were like that. Oh.
Awesome job, mate. Congratulations on a tremendous season.
Thank you very much. Very proud of it. Dindo and I, we're back in town.
We monitored the radios, and he made the comment, and as you say in North America, awesome job to the team. Now, in P2, the unofficial results you take a look at, and Luhr, what a story there. Brian?
Down here with Lucas Luhr, Romain Dumas, celebrating right now with Biv, the Michelin Man. Lucas, awesome drive. It didn't come without some excitement, but probably more importantly, you get to share the championship with your good friend Sasha Mawson.
Yeah, that was the main goal before we came here, that we somehow can manage to do that. But on the other hand, we really wanted to push for overall, so I pushed McNish like crazy, but at the end, I had not really a chance. But thanks to the team, thanks to Romain, I did a fantastic job in the beginning, and thanks to Sasha, to my co-champion.
Congratulations.
Well, let's take a look at those P2 points, and there it is, dead even, and started the season for 6 races together, and then got split up and still managed to pull it off. 181 each. You see Field and Halliday 18 back, and boy, did they make those Porsches work for a long part of this one. Now, GT1 unofficial results, and there it is, Pedro Lamy and Stefan Sarrazin, the winners. Cal?
Tremendous battle here today between the Aston Martins and the Corvettes, and Stefan Sarrazin, you come out on top, but it got awfully close. Talk us through that lap when Johnny O'Connell and you were side by side going into 1.
Yeah, it was a really difficult race because they was fast. We was almost equal, and he tried to overtake me. He overtook me here. I went inside, and at the end of the straight line, it was door by door, and I didn't release the throttle. I stayed flat out, and I hope it will be okay. And after, it was much better. So I'm really happy. The team did a very good job. The mechanics was perfect. Strategy was really good. Pedro was really fast. So very good day for us.
Superb season. Congratulations tonight.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Very good season.
Well done indeed. Now let's take a look at the points in GT1 quickly, and you see Gavin and Beretta, though, get the championship for the drivers, with Sarrazin moving into second. Enga ends up, or excuse me, into third. Enga moves up, falls to fourth, and O'Connell and Fellows are tied for fifth. So that's how it played out in GT1. But awfully entertaining season, and certainly a very entertaining race today.
These cars, everybody loves them. The Thunder, that V8, and of course the V12, the scream of that V12. And those two cars are very, very equal.
Oh, they're fun to listen to for sure. And in GT2, the unofficial results are Telly and Salo get the win in the GT2 category today, but they had to fight for that one as well, with Bergmeister and Long ending up second. in the race itself, and AJR hanging on for third. And then the number 44 car from Neiman and Law in that entry as well. And then the Panos ends up fifth. Let's get back down to Brian.
Mika Salo, impressive as usual in his Ferrari, but when you look back on the season, if you could have made all the races in the power of this Ferrari, do you think about that championship that could have been?
Next year.
Great drive today, the win. I mean, it puts another one in the book, and it helps the team with the team championship. That has to feel good as well.
Yeah, we won the team championship now, so that's final, so it's so good for the team. And they had so many drivers in the team this year, and some of them had a big accidents, and it's been an expensive year for Mr. Risi, but it's a third win for me this year, and team champions, so I think it's good. So hopefully next year we keep one driver or two drivers whole season, and we can go for both championships.
It would be great to see you back. Congratulations on the win.
That's a good point. They rotate a lot of drivers, and if they'd had two that could have made it to everything, this could have been a whole different scenario. And for Alan McNish, that was a celebration as he got out of his trusty steed. We'll be back in just a minute. Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. And we are back. We want to get right back down to Victory Circle where the celebrations continue. Cal is standing by with our GT1 champs.
Well, the bad boys from Corvette come through once again. Ollie, Gavin, you had two agendas today and you met them both, the Drivers and the Manufacturers Championship. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels fantastic. You know, I'm just delighted for everybody at Corvette Racing. You know, it's been a long, hard season. It's had its ups and downs, but, you know, these two guys standing next to me, Gary Pratt and Doug Feehan, have done a fantastic job giving us a great race car. And I'm just delighted for everybody at the team. It's been a marvellous, marvellous result today.
Olivier, 2 in a row, 4 GT1 championships for you now in your career. But how tough was this one with the Aston Martin squad and the weight changes throughout the season that made a lot of pressure on you boys?
Yeah, you're right, but the CompuWare Corvette Racing is a strong team, and today I showed that we are the best team, and I'm very proud to be part of this team. Michelin has been a huge help, and the strategy was perfect. So we have win the manufacturer championships, and that was the main target of the day. And then we have the sister here where we can share the championship, so I'm very happy. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations, boys. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a remarkable achievement by Olivier Beretta, the only 4-time class champion in the series with that one, so that is very special indeed. Now let's take a look at points in GT2, and you can see Jörg Bergmeister awfully close by 6 over Johannes van Overbeek and then the rest of the field, and Brian is standing by with our repeat champion.
Jörg celebrates down here with Patrick Long, and obviously you couldn't have done it without your teammate, but 2 championships this year, 2 ALMS championships in a row. Does it ever grow old?
No, so far. Right now I'm a little disappointed that we didn't win. It was really close, but the Ferrari was just way too quick for us today. But the whole team did an excellent job the whole year. Thanks to Patrick, he deserves the championship. But unfortunately, he had the first race in the Spider, which is not too bad, I guess. I guess that was fun. But no, the whole team did a great job. Thank you.
Congratulations. You heard him say, yeah, I won the championship. Hey, I still wanted to win the race, guys.
Well, hey, it's the competitive drive, no question, and these guys have it huge.
Yeah, they do, and it's great to end the championship with all 4 classes, with all of them out there with the gloves off, swinging away. You know, it was good racing, not only for the guys who were trying to win a championship who hadn't won it before, but also for the people trying to win the race individually for their teams and team championships.
Absolutely, and what a season it's been. Now here's the countdown to Sebring, March 7th, 2007. 145 days, 12 hours, 32 minutes, and it can't come soon enough. Boy, I'll tell you what, it has been a great year. One thing I want to say, you know, I make a point of talking about the volunteers all the time, the workers that come out and do that, and certainly for a season like this, we have to thank them, but I want to give a call to the TV crew. You know, we're the benefits of it sitting here in the booth and enjoying calling the action, but from the camera people out on the track in all conditions for all kinds of races and lengths, as well as everybody in the truck, nobody does it better. These guys set the standard, and we've been, I think, very fortunate to be the beneficiaries of that. An honor to work with these guys, so
Amen.
Our thanks to them. Coming up next, NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown action, so make sure and stay right with us here in Speed. It is going to be absolutely fabulous. For Dorsey, for Brian, for Calvin, I'm Greg Kramer. It's been an honor and a joy to be with you all season. We hope to see you again next year, folks.
Given Porsche a great run for their money. You ask me what I want this
this year, and I try to make this kind and clear. Just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. I need someplace simple where we could live, and something only you can give, and that's faith and trust and peace while we're alive.